Brian, CanJam Hong Kong 2026 is upon us already.
It is.
I can't believe it's already been a year. So CanJam Hong Kong 2026 is our second CanJam in Hong Kong, and I cannot wait to get back because the community there is easily one of the most sophisticated, most energetic communities for this HEDFI stuff anywhere in the world. I cannot wait to get back.
Exactly. And we are back April 11th and 12th, 2026. We're once again returning to the Ocean Park Marriott, and we want to give a special thank you to this year's CanJam Hong Kong event sponsors. So thank you very much, ECT and HIFIMAN. You both helped make CanJam Hong Kong possible.
Yes, thank you, ECT and HIFIMAN. Now, listen, just like you can expect to see zillions of things and hear zillions of things at CanJam Hong Kong,
yep,
there are commensurately that many things that we need to cover in this video, so we better get right to it. This is the Audeze LCD 5S, now the flagship planar magnetic headphone from Audeze. Now, whenever they release a new planar magnetic headphone, it's a big deal. When it's a flagship class planar magnetic headphone, it's a huge deal, huge news. These are huge news. So again, the Audeze LCD 5S is the flagship planar magnetic headphone from Audeze. On each side, there's a 90mm planar magnetic driver that uses a new nanoscale parallel uniforce diaphragm. Now, they describe it as follows. The LCD 5S uses a new driver design featuring our thinnest, most responsive materials. The nanoscale parallel uniforce diaphragm connects to a revised chassis structure, allowing the most precise mid-range tuning possible. And they have retuned the mid-range versus the original LCD 5 in a way that I love. We're going to get to that in a minute. Okay, they also say, a new driver design combines with SLAM technology to produce mastering-grade precision even better than the original LCD 5 with a more natural, lifelike frequency response. I agree with that description in every way, which again, I'll get to in a minute. Now, SLAM stands for Symmetric Linear Acoustic Modulator. SLAM is something that I think was first seen on the Audeze Carbon 2, then the Audeze LCD S20, and I think now the Maxwell 2 also uses it.
Yes.
All right. Now, they say SLAM allows controlled pressure equalization between the diaphragm and ear area, ensuring fully symmetric and uniform forces regardless of diaphragm direction. In simpler terms, with their open back planar headphones that incorporate it, I would say it also improves the bass. It gives it better bass response. And to me, that's a great thing. All right. Now, the LCD 5S is constructed using carbon fiber, magnesium, genuine leather, and polymer acetate with copper accents. I mean, at first blush, it looks a lot like the original LCD 5.
Right. They share a lot of similar materials.
Right. And I do love that high-grade acetate they're using. My eyeglasses use really high-grade acetate, and I love the way it looks. All right. There's also a new ear pad design with the Audeze LCD 5S, an ear pad design that both of us find very, very comfortable. All right. So, what are some of the other iconic Audeze technologies? We talked about parallel uniforce diaphragm and SLAM acoustic management. It also has the Fluxor magnetic array and the phaser phase management. All right. 30 ohm impedance, 90 dB sensitivity. The weight is 475 grams, about what we expect from Audeze these days with a headphone like this. but the design makes it very comfortable to wear for hours. Are these comfortable for you as well?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're extremely comfortable. The cable is a 4-pin XLR premium balanced cable that uses directional OCC high purity copper strands. It comes with a 4-pin XLR to 6.35 millimeter adapter, which I'm glad they include, and a 6.35 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter adapter. And all of that in a beautiful aluminum travel case that we've seen from Audeze and high-grade headphones. It's a beautiful case, and all of that is priced at $4,500. Okay, now let's talk about the original LCD5. We did, when it was released, quite some time ago, we did a video about it, a dedicated review video about it. I believe it was in that video that I said the original LCD5, the upper mids are a bit too energetic for my tastes, and I tend to EQ it down because I love that headphone, but I sometimes have to EQ the upper mids down.
Right.
With these, I never have to EQ them at all. I don't mind EQing a headphone. These I don't EQ because the upper mids on this are, to my ears, significantly more neutral, smoother. For my tastes, I'll say it way better. And then with Slam, giving it more bass on the low end, it gives it just an overall richer signature. I would call it like a rich neutral to my ears. Now, I might be describing to some people something that sounds too smooth, but they've somehow also tuned a beautiful treble response into it that is very airy, and there's quite a bit of treble energy in a good way to my ears.
Yeah.
And for someone like you who really values treble response and treble detail, is it enough for you?
It is. Yeah.
Okay, good. So to me, the same. I love the sound signature of these, and somehow they're more detailed and more resolving than even the original LCD5, and that's saying something. Those are very resolving headphones. It's entirely a win. If you asked me to modify, to edit, to improve the Audeze LCD5, this is it, the Audeze LCD5S. So at CanJam, anytime you have a chance to hear a flagship planar headphone from Audeze, you have to. And these are no exception. The Audeze LCD5S is an absolute can't miss at CanJam. If you would have told me 10 years ago that one of my favorite Audeze headphones would be a gaming headset, I would not have believed you.
Right.
But it is. This is the Audeze Maxwell 2. And even though it's a gaming headset, you need to audition this at CanJam. I'm going to explain why in a minute. It's so good. So the Audeze Maxwell 2 is the second generation wireless gaming headset, the successor to the very successful Audeze Maxwell. On each side, a 90 millimeter planar magnetic driver, has the Audeze Technologies Fluxor and Phasor, but they added SLAM.
Right.
So SLAM stands for Symmetric Linear Acoustic Modulator. It's also seen in the Carbon 2 LCD S20 and the flagship LCD 5S. They say SLAM allows controlled pressure equalization between the diaphragm and ear area, ensuring fully symmetric and uniform forces regardless of diaphragm direction. Simply put, to my ears, it pretty much improves bass response.
Right.
I like what they do with the bass with SLAM. The Audeze Maxwell 2 supports Auracast, LE Audio, LC3, LC3+, LDAC, AAC, and SBC.
Yeah, that's a lot of modern codecs right there.
That is a lot of modern codecs, and it's Bluetooth 5.3. Ultra low latency latency connection. That's lag-free high-resolution audio up to 24-bit 96 kilohertz with the included dongle. And then there's a new wider headband.
Yeah.
I much prefer this headband.
Yep.
It's much more pliable. And it's much more comfortable.
It distributes the weight better.
Yes, and since the Maxwell 2 is a little bit heavier than the original Maxwell, I think that's important. Swappable magnetic side plates.
That's a fun feature.
Yeah,
I
can
like
you
that.
explain that? So these come off.
Yeah, so they're customizable. They have a reskin customization system, and you can personalize the plates. They also have collaborations with, limited collaborations, I think, with like gamers and maybe some personalities coming down the road as well.
Ooh, I'm curious to know about that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some reviewers on YouTube reviewing the Maxwell 2, and they have cooler faceplates.
I've seen a couple of the photos of the faceplates, and they look nice.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see them in person.
These are the standard faceplates.
Yeah.
So it comes with a detachable boom mic, which I don't have attached, of course. Very nice, not just for gaming, but also for communication.
Yeah, they're great for conference calls because of that filter AI noise removal.
Ah, yes. So there's filter AI noise removal. It is spectacularly effective at removing noise from your outgoing voice. So you could be in a factory floor.
Yeah.
Don't know why you would do that. Talking to people, and they will not hear the factory equipment. They'll just hear your voice. It's actually very effective. Compatible with PC and Mac, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch 2, iOS, and Android. 80 hours battery life, like the original Maxwell.
Yep.
Okay, so you're an avid gamer. I game, but you're like an avid gamer.
Yeah, the original Maxwell is used for many hours every single week in my household. And the nice thing is you can just plug it in here and there
Yeah.
and then forget about it. The battery seems like it runs forever because those 80 hours will take you a long time to get through.
I know. I charge mine just once every great while.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic thing. Compatible with the Audeze app, and they've really refined the Audeze app.
Yeah, it's been improved quite a bit.
Yes, it's gotten quite nice. So you can do things like tune its sound and things like that. Anyway, and more. Price. $329.99 for the PlayStation version, and that uses Sony's Tempest 3D for spatial audio. And then $349.99 for the Xbox version, because that uses Dolby Atmos for spatial audio, and so a Dolby Atmos license is included in the purchase price, which is nice.
So that's that price difference. You get the license for Atmos, and it's tied to the dongle, so you can move it around to different devices and still have Atmos.
Yes, very nice. And so essentially, this does everything the other one does.
Yeah.
Right. So
Atmos.
I went with the Xbox version because here at HeadFi HQ we have the Xbox, we have the PlayStation 5. All right. So also I want to mention connectivity. So wireless, of course, USB-C, ultra low latency. Then you have wired digital, so right. USB-C with dual audio endpoints and game chat mix, and then wired analog 3.5mm TRRS active. Okay. Do I prefer this to the original Maxwell? Yes. I'm such a Maxwell fanboy, too. Like, I think I ordered every special edition of the Maxwell that came out.
I think you did.
Yes, I'm a big Maxwell fanboy. But I do prefer the Maxwell, too. I think it sounds better. I prefer the bass on it. And again, you can tune it in the app. But so this is not just a gaming headset. You use it a lot for gaming. I actually use it more for music than gaming. It's a musical wireless headphone.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, actually. So at CanJam, just because it's a gaming headset, do not skip it over. The Maxwell 2 is something you absolutely have to audition.
ECT will be joining us at CanJam Hong Kong this year, and they're also one of our CanJam Hong Kong event sponsors, so thank you ECT for helping make CanJam Hong Kong possible. The list of brands ECT represents is massive and covers so many can't-miss products. For example, they'll be showing Final Audio's latest flagship, the DX10000CL. Here's our take on the headphone that's forging its own path.
This is the Final DX10000CL. I think Final is the first audio company I can think of whose product numbers get into the 5-digit range.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. But anyway, so this is the Final DX10000CL. When you think of Final and over-ear headphones, you probably think of planar magnetic headphones. But this isn't. This is a closed-back dynamic headphone. It looks open-back, but it's a closed-back dynamic headphone. And just from a material sciences standpoint, not to even get into the sound yet, which is also fascinating, it is such an incredibly cool story.
Right.
Let's talk about it. So it uses a newly developed 40mm dynamic driver that incorporates a 26mm truly pure diamond dome. And they say about that, the entire dome structure is equivalent to 100% purity diamond, not a coating, but a solid diamond diaphragm. It's manufactured using CVD technology, which stands for chemical vapor deposition. I encourage you to online research what it takes to make a CVD solid diamond diaphragm. It is exceptionally time-consuming and energy-intensive.
Yeah.
And very, very expensive.
Oh, yeah.
This is an expensive headphone, and it's a very expensive process. Anyway, it's the same diamond technology introduced in the flagship A10000 IEM. Another 5-digit model number from them.
Oh, yeah.
Diamond was selected for its hardness, stiffness to weight ratio, and its deformation resistance. It uses an entirely new acoustic chamber architecture. It is, again, a closed-back dynamic headphone. It has ultra-suede high-density memory foam ear pads that I think are very soft and very comfortable, actually. 2 reference-grade cables come with it by Junkosha. There's a 3-meter silver-coated XLR cable and a 1.5-meter silver-coated 4.4mm cable enhanced with ePTFE insulation. I believe it's identical or similar to the one currently used on the A10000 IEM. Now, there are 2 editions. The limited collector's edition, which we're showing here with this gorgeous gold. The limited collector's edition has gold inlines on the outer appearance on the outside, and it has Japanese-themed premium packaging, and it comes with collector's edition-only accessories. Then there's a standard edition where you see gold here. The standard edition will have silver on the outer side and come with a more standard packaging. The limited collector's edition is priced at $8,499. The standard edition, $7,999. So these are expensive headphones. Again, that does not surprise me at all, given the performance, but again, given what we talked about with respect to material sciences and the costs. They say about the sound that the DX10000CL delivers extraordinary bass control, natural tonality, and exceptional separation once thought possible only in open back designs. Again, a closed back design, this one. They say it has deep yet tightly controlled bass, exceptional clarity and instrument separation, natural uncolored tonal balance, a spacious and immersive presentation.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with everything they've said there. So when I first put the headphone on, my mind immediately went and focused on just the spaciousness, the separation, the placement. Everything just felt so open.
Yes.
It's actually kind of hard to process that this is a closed back headphone.
Yeah.
And then they also mention the color-free sound, and I agree. It's very lack of coloration, gives you just kind of like a natural open sound. Just the spaciousness of the sound applies, I think, also to the sound signature. But one of the things that are interesting is that this is a closed back, and you're not going to get a traditional closed back bass experience with this. It doesn't have the same kind of, closed back bass emphasized nature that you're going to find with a lot of different headphones.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on everything you said, which means I agree also with how they're describing it.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, again, I don't mean to focus on material sciences, but it is fascinating to me because, like,
Very.
if you think of beryllium, the breakup frequency for a solid beryllium driver is very, very high,
Mm-hmm.
very, very high frequencies. Given that diamond is stiffer, I would, and this is again a solid diamond diaphragm, I expect that the breakup frequencies to be even higher still.
Right.
Which means it should mean a lack of coloration, which I think you might have mentioned in what we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
It is extremely resolving.
Yeah.
This is an extremely resolving headphone. The mids and the highs are so crazy resolving. The bass, okay, like you mentioned, to my ears is more perceived flat. It is
Yeah.
not emphasized at all.
Right.
It is a fascinating headphone to listen to for its resolution, and that imaging is really something.
Yes.
So this at CanJam, the DX10000CL, I think it's one of the most fascinating headphones right now, just for all the reasons we've just discussed. And you definitely want to check out the DX10000CL at CanJam. This is the HIFIMAN HE1000 Wi-Fi. You're holding the HIFIMAN Aria Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
This is a HIFIMAN HE1000. That is a HIFIMAN Aria. But as the name suggests, they're Wi-Fi enabled. And when HIFIMAN came to me and told me they would be doing Wi-Fi enabled flagship class headphones, I wasn't clear on the value proposition.
Yeah.
Having used these now, I am totally clear on the value proposition. I get it. Let's talk about these. So HIFIMAN describes both as Wi-Fi streaming media planar headphones. And they're designed around HIFIMAN's 3-in-1 audio foundation system design, which is essentially like treating the internals as separate. It's a separate DAC section, amp section, and of course, the transducer.
Right.
For the DAC, it's an in-house developed DAC using the Himalaya Mini R2R DAC, which I'm a big fan of.
Mm-hmm.
I love the whole Himalaya sort of range of goods. The amplification circuit is a dedicated amplifier circuit that's a Class A AB design. So that's cool. That's not something you're going to see typically in a wireless headphone. And of course, the driver, flagship planar magnetic driver design. All right. They say about the Wi-Fi provides significantly greater bandwidth and stability than Bluetooth. This enables lossless, uncompressed transmission of high-quality audio files. They say the Wi-Fi streaming technology supports high-speed transmission and high bitrate and multi-format lossless music, support for most online streaming services like Roon, Tidal, Spotify, Qobuz, etc.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with Bluetooth, right, we have LDAC, aptX, things like that. Those are still lossy, compressed protocols. With Wi-Fi, you don't have to worry about lossy anything. You can go full lossless, high res.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me, I wasn't sure how big a deal that would be, right, in a headphone that has both. It is a huge deal. There's a big difference between the two. So there are multiple wired and wireless options. As I mentioned already, of course, that's what we're talking about here. Wi-Fi for better wireless audio quality and range. Bluetooth 5.1 for better battery life, and it also supports SBC, AAC, aptX, aptX HD, and LDAC, so that's nice that it has all of that. And USB-C audio for best audio quality, they say. I'm going to get back to that, and I think this is important to get back to. Now, some of the returning features that we're familiar with HIFIMAN headphones, nanometer thickness diaphragm with the HE1000, super nano diaphragm with the Aria. This is a higher-end driver in the HE1000, no big surprise.
Yep.
It is more resolving, but both are very resolving headphones. Incredibly resolving. I think our community is familiar with both the HE1000 and the Aria family of headphones. Enhanced magnet design using stealth magnets, and then also HIFIMAN's Gen 2 composite headband. I like this new design headband from HIFIMAN.
It's a nice change, yeah.
It is a very nice change, and it's very comfortable. It looks nice. By the way, I love the color of the HIFIMAN HE1000 Wi-Fi. What is that, like a champagne?
Yeah, I call it champagne.
Oh, so beautiful. Reminds me of some of the old gear, like AccuPhase gear and things like that. I have some old Luxman pieces like that. Anyway, they say it can be used on the go with a mobile hotspot.
Yeah.
I haven't tried that yet. The weight for both, 452 grams. Battery life on Wi-Fi, 6.5 to 7.5 hours. Bluetooth, 23 hours. 3 to 4 hour charge time, 30 days standby. So obviously with Bluetooth, you get a lot more life. But man, when I'm at home or when I'm at the office, I don't worry. 6.5 to 7.5 gets me there.
Yep.
And then you just plug it in when you're not using it to charge it. And the sound quality is substantially better. Now I get it, right? When you use it in true lossless mode via Wi-Fi, a couple of things. Number one, I don't have to worry about where I am. Anywhere in my house, anywhere here at the office, as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection. I'm getting lossless, high-res music to these or those. Fantastic. Compared to USB-C audio, they say it's better with USB-C audio. I'm going to say I can understand why, in theory, it would be better. Between the two, though, that is between Wi-Fi and USB-C audio, so close. So close. And that is a huge deal, to be able to do that wirelessly. But what's also nice is when you don't have Wi-Fi or you don't use Wi-Fi and you want to just use a USB-C cable, then you know you get the USB-C DAC in here. And that 3-in-1 audio foundation design, I mean, it does sound like a dedicated system when you're using it with USB-C audio or Wi-Fi. So do I get the value proposition? I do. Both headphones are, again, incredibly resolving. This is a more resolving headphone than that one. You should pay more for it. But wow, I get it. It's a big deal for me to have these three options now. It's going to be hard for me, right, to go back to a headphone that's just Bluetooth when I can have Wi-Fi as well. And at this level of performance with the HE1000 and Aria, it's just a really big deal. And it does take, I think, in some ways, maybe that level of resolution to be able to fully appreciate the value proposition that having Wi-Fi brings. Anyway, these will be at CanJam. Make sure to audition them, and you'll understand it too. This is the Meze Audio Strata. These are lovely headphones, as everything from Meze seems to be. Just gorgeous to look at. But these are closed-back headphones, as you can tell. But you might think they're planar magnetic when you first see them.
Right.
Because they look a lot like the Lyric family of headphones from Meze Audio. But they're not. The Strata is dynamic. So let's talk about it. The Meze Audio Strata, again, a closed-back dynamic headphone. On each side, there's a 50-millimeter dynamic driver. Now, that driver, and this is interesting, has a biocellulose composite dome and a beryllium-coated torus, which I believe is the surround. So that's an interesting combo.
It is.
The chassis of the Strata is magnesium and zinc, and so are the accents. Again, just gorgeous. Macassar ebony wood ear cups and a hand-painted finish, which is stunning.
Yes.
So I have some color blindness. I've mentioned this before. And even with my lack of color acuity, I can tell these are green. These are very green, very green. And I mean that in a good way. I love green. I love the shade of green. And the hand-painted finish, it reminds me so much of like a super premium luxury car finish.
Yeah, my mind immediately went to automotive paint.
Yes, and there's like a depth to it. And a little bit of a shimmer.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. All right, leather ear pads that use magnetic ear pad mounting system.
I love a magnetic mounting system.
We are both big fans of that. I wish everybody used a magnetic ear pad mounting system. 40 ohm impedance. And the Strata comes with 2 dual-twisted Kevlar-wrapped OFC cables. One terminated 3.5 millimeter, the other 4.4 millimeter, which is nice. Price, $799. So these are very reasonably priced. And I really enjoy the way these sound. All right, so here's how they describe the sound. With its full-bodied sound, excellent noise isolation, and natural sense of space, it delivers a harmonious acoustic experience where detailed texture and dynamics come through with effortless precision. Okay, I think that's a fair description. I agree with it. However, when they say full-bodied sound, I would have expected it like to be, from that description, maybe to be bassier than it is. And the funny thing is I heard them before I saw any measurements of them. We haven't measured them yet. But I did see Andrew Resolve's measurements of them. And even his measurement shows what looks bassier than it sounds to my ears. So the bass is extended, and as I'm hearing it, but I find it to be, for my tastes, and I do like a richer toned headphone typically, but for my tastes, more on the neutral side with good extension.
Yeah, for me, it's a little emphasized on the low end, but it still works.
Okay. So when Brian says it's a little emphasized, that's neutral for most people.
Yeah.
So the bass to me is like more neutrally tuned with really nice extension.
Yeah.
Overall, I would actually say that it's a more neutral headphone. However, there is a distinct like treble presence and shimmer.
Yep.
And I would actually call, for my taste, the treble actually above what I would call my range of just like right down the middle neutrality.
I can see that.
Yeah, but it's nicely done. So,
Yeah.
for example, I'm not getting any sort of harshness at all, but I'm getting tremendous detail and articulation. I'm getting no issues with sibilance or anything like that.
Right.
So it's a neutral, closed-back headphone to my ears with shimmer. And that image is lovely for a closed-back headphone.
Yeah.
For $799. Frankly, I'm very excited about these. Like everything Meze Audio makes, they're also gorgeous to look at and feel. But I love the sound as well. So at CanJam, if you're looking for a closed-back headphone that sounds beautiful and looks beautiful, the Meze Audio Strata is where you should start. You are holding a headphone that I have, in a way, been waiting years for.
Right.
And I'll explain that in a minute. So that is the headphone, that's HEDD phone D1 by HEDD, HEDD. Now, you guys know HEDD from Germany, from Berlin, for making AMT drivers, air motion transformer drivers, which this does not use.
Right.
And this is what I've been waiting years for. Let me get to it. So first of all, the headphone D1 is an open-back dynamic headphone co-developed with composite sound from Sweden. I have known about this material, this thin-ply carbon, for years. I've been waiting for it to be used in a headphone application for years.
Right.
The headphone D1 is the first to do it, and I'm so there for it. So this is the world's first dynamic headphone to feature a thin-ply carbon diaphragm. Thin-ply carbon is an advanced composite used in the most demanding fields, from Formula One racing to NASA's Mars helicopter. So on that Mars helicopter that they're talking about, I think it's a drone that comes off the rover.
I believe so.
And the atmosphere in Mars is so thin that the propeller on this helicopter has to spin at incredibly high rates of speed to get lift. And it uses, for that propeller material, a thin-ply carbon like this. In headphone design, it becomes something entirely new, they say, a diaphragm that controls resonances structurally, eliminating the need for traditional damping at the diaphragm level. The result is faster, cleaner, and more accurate motion across the audible spectrum. And based on my discussions with the makers of this thin-ply carbon, I've expected that maybe this would be a driver that would be fast-sounding and resolving.
Right.
I haven't been disappointed. All right. So they say where dynamic drivers have long been defined by trade-offs, bass versus treble, weight versus stability, the D1 removes those compromises. The D1, that headphone, they say, delivers reference precision, natural balance, and long-term comfort in a headphone that feels as innovative as it sounds. We're going to get to the sound in a minute. 32 ohm impedance, 100 dB sensitivity, 350 grams, so reasonably light.
Yeah.
Perforated velour ear pads, textile-covered premium cable, includes that carrying case, a nice carrying case. 5-year warranty. Price, $799.
And that surprised me because I found out the price after hearing this.
Yes, $799, 699 euros, or 599 pounds. All right, now let's talk about the sound. I first heard those at CanJam SoCal 2025 in a kind of a sneak preview behind the scenes.
Right.
And I was hoping, so this is the diaphragm, impossibly light. And then this is the driver that would be inside there that uses that diaphragm. I was hoping that it would be, and kind of had the impression that the driver using the thin-ply carbon would probably be fast and resolving.
Right.
Holy moly, that is a fast resolving sounding driver.
Yeah, it is.
So the D1 to me is tuned what I would call perceived neutral. You like more neutral headphones.
I do.
And I was guessing that one might be right down the middle of your preference range.
It is. This is actually one of those headphones, when you think about how many we get through HeadFi HQ, not every single one of them is going to give you that kind of goosebump feeling. I think it was my second test track. I'm listening, and this just went right down my spine. It's like, oh, that's good.
I knew you'd love these. And I also enjoy them thoroughly.
Yeah.
Now, for me, of course, because I would call the bass level as perceived flat bass, which is kind of what you like.
Yes.
I don't mind EQing a little more bass into them, but still enjoy listening to them even in their default signature. These are like studio monitor, open back studio monitor headphones. HEDD has a lot of experience in pro audio.
Yeah, they do.
I feel like it's coming through with this headphone. It is, to my ears, incredibly resolving. Honestly, I think these are going to be a huge hit at CanJam.
Yes.
I've been waiting, like I said, years for a headphone to use the thin ply carbon drivers, and I have not been disappointed. Make sure at CanJam to check out the HEDD Headphone D1 using thin ply carbon drivers. Phenomenal. This is the écoute Audio TH2. I think a lot of you are probably familiar with the écoute TH1, which is quite popular. Now, the TH1 and the TH2 are both, as they say, the world's only headsets with built-in vacuum tube preamp and dual mono amplification. And the TH2 is an improvement in every way, which we'll get to in a second. Now, one of the things that écoute Audio did that I think was very important in developing this was they brought in a seasoned hi-fi executive.
Right.
They brought in, a lot of you guys probably know Andy Regan. He's worked with JH Audio, HIFIMAN, Dan Clark Audio, and they brought him in as the president of écoute Audio. I think this was a good move, and it reflects in this product. All right, let's talk about it. So they say the signature versus the TH1, now with deeper bass, extended treble, and even more articulate across all frequencies. Absolutely true. Improved dual mono full system tube architecture, which contributes to that. Redesigned resonance chamber, all new improved tuning profile. Not merely cosmetic changes, the different look comes from redesigning the headband and suspension strap for better comfort and weight relief. I agree that wider distribution of the weight does help a great deal. Redesigned chassis, improved durability, fit, comfort, and weight distribution. Also modular construction, interchangeable ear pad, suspension pad, and headband wraps for customization and longevity. From the longevity standpoint, it just feels built better.
Right.
This is, I mean, you can see it's an entirely new build, and it just feels built better. A new button layout. They've essentially taken the power button and moved it to where it makes more sense.
But that was a big change.
That's a big change, because now you won't confusingly hit the power button.
Exactly.
It's where the tube is. So the tube glows when you turn it on, and now it's easy to tell when it's on. Considerable optimization of the DSP across all headphone response and functions, which speaks to the sound, and it also speaks to improved noise control. Even lower noise floor for the ANC and a more natural sounding transparency mode. True on both counts, based on my listening experience with it. And again, this is pre-production, so it's doing real well for a pre-production unit. Improved passive isolation, innovative shielding, improved RF and microphonic isolation around the tube preamp stage. Absolutely true. With the TH1, when you manipulate it whilst it was on your head, you can sometimes get the ringing out of the tube.
Yeah.
This is much less susceptible to that and less susceptible to RF noise. I can confirm both of those things.
Right.
Custom tuning available via improved écoute app. This doesn't, the app that we have isn't updated for this yet.
Correct.
But with the TH1, we like that you could adjust the sound. You'll be able to do that with this as well. Bluetooth 5.3 with SBC, AAC, and LDAC. Analog and digital input for wired use. USB-C connector. That's when it's at its best.
Yes.
Is wired and using its built-in USB DAC, which I think supports 24192.
I think so.
And that's when it's at its best. Now, I mostly use it wireless, but I love having the USB-C support, the USB DAC support. Now, the price, $999.
Right.
Isn't that only like $100 more than the TH1?
I think it's exactly $100.
I think the MSRP is $100 more, which is, and you get, and it's just to me, it's a significantly better headphone.
Yes.
So in terms of sound signature, the TH1 was like neutral, but on the like flatter neutral to me side for my tastes. This has richer neutral, and it is more articulate, more detailed as well. But I love that richness, and it's not. And again, I call it rich neutral. Not to me, it's not bass heavy, but you'll be able to tune it anyway. It images better, and I love the improved ANC as well. So everything about it's better for $100 more. And the build is better.
Yeah.
The TH2 at CanJam, do not miss it. If you have a chance, try it wirelessly, of course, but also in its wired USB DAC mode. I would recommend.
We are no strangers to Sendy audio around here. We've heard a number of their headphones and actually liked quite a few. And I'm happy that trend is continuing with this. This is the Sendy Audio Egret. Now, the Egret is an open back headphone with a 98 by 84 millimeter planar magnetic driver. It has a nanoscale composite diaphragm with EB evaporated deposition coated circuits. The cups are made from black walnut wood. I think it's a very lovely shade. I think they did an exceptional job on the cups.
Beautiful wood.
Yeah. And it has egret inspired metal mesh. Now, they say that it's inspired by the wings of an egret in flight, but I'm going to be honest, Never seen an egret, never seen a photo of an egret, so I have no idea how accurate that is, but they are pretty.
They are beautiful. I actually looked up egret in flight.
Yeah?
I'm not seeing exactly what they're saying, but they are beautiful grills.
They always do exceptional grills. It has CNC machined aviation aluminum components and an anodized gunmetal finish, and I love the look of gunmetal, so that's always a nice touch for me. It has a lamb leather headband and hybrid angled ear pads. They are made with lamb leather and velour. They're quite comfortable, I'll be honest.
They are.
Now here's something interesting. It has a triple composite cable made with Furukawa OFC, which is oxygen-free copper, silver-plated copper, and enameled gold-plated copper conductors. I don't think I've heard quite that combination before, so that's unique. It has a dual-braided mesh shielding with PVC jacket, and it comes terminated in 4.4 millimeter. They also include a 4.4 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter adapter in the box, and then you also get a 3.5 millimeter to 1/4 inch. So pretty much most connections you're set. It comes with a leather carrying case. It's a case that we've seen before, but it is a case that I like quite a bit. I love the rigidity to it, so it's great for traveling. 24 ohm impedance, 443 grams. So why do we like this? Well, in my opinion, they knocked it out of the park on the signature on this one. It's got like a nice studio sound.
It does.
But it's a fun studio, and I like it a lot.
So I first heard the egret at PotaFest 2025, their winter show.
Yeah.
And made great first impressions. Now that I've had time to listen to it with a lot of my music, yeah, even better than the first impressions. So their flagship is, I think it's still the Peacock.
I believe it's still the Peacock.
And that has a more relaxed signature that I also love. This is definitely more neutral.
Yeah.
Like, this is a little bit more lively sounding than the more relaxed Peacock to my ears.
Yep.
I actually can't decide which I prefer because it's a kind of a mood thing. I'm glad that we have both now.
Right.
But that is a more neutral sound, beautiful extended bass, just a great balanced presentation. Again, a little more lively for sure than the Peacock in a way that I think a lot of people are going to find positive. I think that's probably going to have wider appeal than the Peacock.
It might.
I think for many it will be the favorite of Sendy's headphones. Probably for you it is.
Oh, it definitely is for me.
Yeah, because I tend to prefer a more relaxed signature sometimes. So I don't know which one I prefer, but I do love the signature of that. That is easily one of my two favorite headphones from them, unquestionably.
CanJam Hong Kong will be packed with world-class personal audio gear, and the list of headphones to discover continues. At ECT, you can experience one of the pinnacles of electrostatic performance with the legendary STAX SRX 9000 alongside the brand new SR009D. Flowztone will be showcasing their FR1, a high-performance true ribbon headphone system. Don't forget to stop by and check out the Pro from amame, featuring their unique glass driver technology. For those who appreciate Italian craftsmanship and ultra-premium performance, Spirit Torino will be featuring their flagship Valkyria. And finally, you'll want to make time for the Yo-tronics exhibit to audition their planar magnetic KP2000. HIFIMAN will be joining us at CanJam Hong Kong this year, and they're also one of our CanJam Hong Kong event sponsors, so thank you HIFIMAN for helping make CanJam Hong Kong possible. Now, we all know HIFIMAN for the incredible sound their headphones can deliver, but top-tier headphones perform best in a top-tier system. Here's our take on the HIFIMAN EF1000 DAC and the Golden Wave G810, two desktop DAC amps from HIFIMAN that can really make your headphones shine.
Now that beast on the table, and that is a very substantial piece of kit. That's the HIFIMAN EF1000 DAC, and since its release, it's been one of my favorite audio anythings in the world since its release, because it's been at the center of so many of my top reference configurations, like systems. It's so fantastic.
Right.
What it is, it's a DAC amp. It is a reference DAC and a reference amp in a single very large chassis. And that DAC, okay, let's start with that. So ever since I've known the founder of HIFIMAN, Fang Bian, I've known him since essentially he founded HIFIMAN. So many, many years. And as long as I've known him, he's been obsessed with R2R DACs. He just prefers the way they sound, as do many in our community. So obsessed was he with R2R DACs that he had HIFIMAN develop a proprietary R2R DAC architecture and technology that they call Himalaya. And I think a lot of headfires are familiar with Himalaya. Now, the highest realization of the Himalaya architecture is the Himalaya Pro. And there are 4 Himalaya Pros inside the EF1000 DACs
right.
DAC section. Phenomenal. All right. Now, the amp is a flagship class amp. Now, here's how they describe it. They say the amp section is very noteworthy with a newly developed, fully discrete operational amplifier module in the input stage and a fully balanced amplifier output with a combination of field effect transistors and standard transistors. It's designed to drive just about anything, including optimally driving the legendarily hard-to-drive HE6 and Susvara headphones. And I've driven the HE6 and the Susvara headphones with it. Okay, I'm going to talk about it with the Susvara Unveiled, for example. As a system, I would compare it to pretty much any system at any price. It's that good. It's phenomenal. Right. But I've used it with other headphones. We're going to get to that shortly. Now, the amplifier will output up to 13.7 watts into 32 ohms. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot. And it's not, okay, I'm going to say this now. I don't use this with IEMs.
No, the steps are a bit too big.
Yeah, so it has a step potentiometer, which I dig for volume control and everything. But for a sensitive IEM, this is not the amp that you would use with it. This is for like flagship class over-ear headphones. On the DAC side, it does have, because again, it's an R2R DAC, there is a non-oversampling and oversampling switch. What's nice is you can switch between them, and it changes it in real time so you can hear the difference. I'll say this now. I pretty much use it only in non-oversampling mode. And in that mode, I feel like I'm hearing all the things that we look for in an R2R DAC, like that holographic imaging, solid image objects, beautiful. It's just such a beautiful presentation. So I'm pretty much in non-oversampling mode exclusively. Now, I want to say that it's not okay. Of course, HIFIMAN will say, please use it with our best headphones. Yeah. But and I do again with the Susvara Unveiled, incredible. But I've also used it with the Abyss headphones, Diana TC Signature.
Right.
Incredible pairing, phenomenal pairing. I've used it with the RAL 1995 Imanis with the silver interface. Holy moly. Like I said, it's at the center of so many of my favorite systems, and I can name more.
Yeah.
But this at CanJam, if you want to hear what is at the center of one of my top flight, so many of my top flight reference systems, EF1000 DAC, has to be Audition. Fantastic piece of kit.
So on the table right now is the Golden Wave HIFIMAN GA10. It is a desktop tube amplifier, and the fact that tubes are involved explains why I really haven't seen this around the office, because you stole this pretty much the second it came in. Yeah.
Like I said a zillion times in other videos, I am a big tube amp enthusiast. I have been since I was, since a kid. I mean, like since as long as I've been an audiophile. Now, unlike some of the members of our community who seem to have limitless budgets for like the highest end tube amps, and I'm sure those guys are shopping very carefully for the best value for their high-end buck. Right. I don't tend to shop in that range. It's not usually my budget range. So I'm looking for more affordable stuff, more reasonably priced stuff that performs at a really high level. The Golden Wave HIFIMAN GA10 absolutely fits the bill. We'll get to the sound signature in a second. Let's talk about what it is. Like you said, it's a desktop tube amp, obviously. Inside, 4 ECC83 or 12AX7 tubes and 4 6P14 or EL84 tubes. They call it a SEP architecture, SEPP architecture, which I believe stands for single-ended push-pull architecture.
I believe so.
Inputs, XLR and stereo RCA. Headphone outputs, 4-pin XLR and 4.4 millimeter, which is nice. And also, of course, 6.35 millimeter or quarter-inch. Power.
Yeah.
It's a tube amp. So high-impedance headphone enthusiasts are going to be pretty happy because it outputs 3,000 milliwatts into 300 ohms.
Yep.
So rejoice, high impedance headphone fans. But still, even if you have like a lower impedance headphone, 600 milliwatts into 32 ohms. So it has juice. Yeah. I've been able to drive every one of the current HIFIMAN headphones with it without any issue at all. Beautifully driven. Like the Aria Unveiled is gorgeous through it. The Susvara Unveiled is gorgeous through it.
Yeah.
I guess if you're going to use like a Susvara first generation, which is pretty power hungry.
Right.
You're going to get good sound out of it, but it's probably not going to be the beast you might be looking for. So just keep that in mind. But for all other, I also used it with the Meze Elite a lot.
Yeah.
Another beautiful pairing. Anyway, the headphone outputs impedance switch. There's an impedance switch on the front. It lets the user select the best impedance match. So 32 ohms or under 32 ohms, you'd use low. 32 ohms or over 32 ohms, you'd use high. That's what they're recommending, I believe. Shielded 120-watt transformer, audiophile-grade components, given its HIFIMAN and Golden Wave. No big shocker there. I'm not going to break those parts down right now.
Yeah.
It's larger than we expected it, by the way.
Oh, a lot larger.
So in the pictures, which is what we'd seen first,
Yep.
I think because the volume knob is so huge,
Yeah.
we didn't realize that, so it makes the amp look smaller in photos. Nope, the volume knob is pretty huge.
It is.
And the amp is pretty largish, 16 pounds. Keep that in mind if you're shopping for your desk. Now let's talk about the sound signature. Here's in my notes, it says warm and transparent. It's still neutral, harmonically rich with crisp detail, solid bass extension. I love the sound of this amp. It is pretty much everything I want. Now, I'm not a tube roller.
Right.
So whatever the stock tubes are, work beautiful for me because I'm not really a tube roller anymore. I used to be. Whatever the stock tubes are going to be are probably what I'm going to be listening to, and I love the way it sounds with those tubes. I've already said what headphones I've used it with so far. Beautifully done. So if you're a tube audio enthusiast especially, make sure to audition the GA10 at CanJam. And if you're just curious about what a great tube amp sounds like for a reasonable price, make sure to audition the GA10. There are times I don't want to carry a portable digital audio player.
Sure.
I know you find that hard to believe because I'm almost always carrying a portable digital audio player.
Yeah, or two.
True. Or two. But there are some times I know you find it hard to believe that I don't want to carry one, especially when I'm carrying like a small sling bag instead of a backpack.
Yeah.
And when I do that, I just want to turn my phone into a portable digital audio player with something like this, like a dongle DAC. And this is the Campfire Audio Relay. This is a lovely little dongle DAC. It's a USB-C dongle DAC that uses the AKM AK4493 SEQ chip. It can decode PCM up to 32768 and DSD. And Campfire Audio says they selected it for its wonderful combination of technical ability and its special edge of analog warmth and tonality.
Yeah, that sounds very Campfire Audio to me.
It does sound very Campfire Audio.
Yeah.
They also use 2 ultra-low noise high-output drivers. So it has 2 gain settings. In low gain setting, from the unbalanced output, it'll drive up to 1.35 volts RMS. From balanced, up to 2.7 volts RMS. That's in low gain. And high gain, from unbalanced, up to 2 volts RMS. And from balanced, up to 4 volts RMS. There are 6 selectable filter modes, 60-step precision volume control, anodized aluminum body with a transparent window.
It is a nice design body.
I dig that transparent window. It shows off the AKM AK4493 SEQ chip, which I think is neat. And I like the fact that the Campfire Audio logo glows when you plug it in. 3.5mm and 4.4mm outputs, supports Windows, Mac OS, Android, and iOS. The accessories are actually, I think they're kind of cool because
I like them.
Brian and I are both kind of like backpack nuts.
Yeah.
And we like the fabric that it uses. The little case has black cushioned ripstop.
Yes, I love ripstop.
Yeah, I like that too. And it comes with a 6cm USB-C to USB-C cable and a microfiber cleaning cloth, which you sometimes need because that glass can be fingerprint prone.
It's going to get a lot.
And it's $229.
Yes.
So this, by the way, I used it, speaking of the 2 ultra-low noise high-output drivers, I used it with one of my most sensitive IEMs, which is the Campfire Audio Clara.
Yeah.
Clara. It is quite sensitive. Plugged it in, it's essentially dead silent.
Yeah.
What I also like about this is some dongle DACs are more prone to cell phone radio noise. And with both of my phones, one an Android, one an iPhone, it's quiet.
Right.
Which is very important to me because then it gives me that illusion that my phone just turned into a high-end portable digital audio player when I do not want to carry one. And I love the fact that this gives me the option to not carry a portable digital audio player. At CanJam, this is a little dongle DAC that everybody there should audition. That's the LAiV Crescendo Verse. I love that little box.
Yeah.
So LAiV has made a lot of waves in our world.
Yes.
Spelled LAiV, by the way, for those not familiar, but I think a lot of headfires are familiar. I think it's safe to say they're probably known most for their R2R DACs.
I'd say so.
Okay, I get why. Because this is my first time using one of their products. And that is an R2R DAC. Actually, it's a DAC preamp and headphone amplifier, and it does employ LAiV's R2R ladder DAC architecture. They say about that, carefully arranged individual resistors with a tolerance of 0.05%, designed to preserve musical texture and tonal accuracy. I would say that's fair. We're going to get to the sound shortly. It decodes PCM 768K and DSD 256, native DSD 1-bit conversion. Very cool. The discrete headphone stage, 3 gain settings, up to 1100 milliwatts output from balanced, up to 290 milliwatts from single-ended. The headphone output's 4.4mm balanced, 6.35mm single-ended. The inputs, USB, optical coax, and I2S. The line outs, RCA and XLR with a discrete output buffered preamplifier. I love that it has preamplier functionality, preamp functionality.
Yeah.
For someone like you, that's probably more important.
I really appreciate it because I incorporate it into larger systems, or I'll use it at a small compact desk, and this gives me both of those.
Yes, this can be at the center of a bigger system.
Yeah.
My use case tends to be DAC amp, a DAC headphone amp, because I usually just put it right next to me at any of my desks.
Right, but you could also pair that with active monitors.
True. So black or silver aluminum with gold accents it comes in. We have silver, obviously. A 20x7 dot matrix LED display, which is actually pretty cool.
I love that display.
Big old characters.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you can see in front of us here. Tempered glass over that display. Analog volume control, which is nice. I didn't know it was analog because when you turn it, the volume's represented digitally. But it's cool that it's an analog volume control. And I have good volume matching all the way to the bottom. So that's probably one of the reasons I thought it was digital as well. $849 US. Again, very affordable.
Yes.
So I didn't know what to expect because a lot of their stuff is a lot more expensive.
Right.
And I haven't heard any of their other stuff. So this, at $849, represents what I love about R2R DACs. So I use it in non-oversampling mode because you can use it in various modes. And with R2R DACs, if I have a non-oversampling mode, I'm going with it usually. And it sounds accurate, not lush, but relaxed. So there's not a hard edge in any of its presentation. And that is what I love about a good R2R DAC. And this has it. If you told me this was one of their more premium pieces, because I'd never used any of their stuff before, I'd believe it. It sounds like a really good R2R DAC. And the amp I've used with IEMs, and it's quiet in terms of self-noise, but I think I've used it more with over-ear headphones. The Meze Elite, which is a much more expensive headphone than one might think to use with that. Phenomenal. As you know, I've also become a big fan of the Abyss headphones Diana TC Signature.
Right.
One of my favorite headphones lately. And it sounds incredible with that. Like they say, designed to preserve musical texture and tonal accuracy. I agree. Very textured. Beautiful sound. You know what this is? $849 US. This is for the guy who might be interested, or gal, who interested in R2R DACs, of course, and wants to hear it. Great example of it. And for the person who's blown their entire budget on an expensive headphone, like a Meze Elite or a Diana TC Signature, and wants something that is worthy of those headphones with what little money they have left.
Right.
Ta-da. So don't miss it, CanJam, the live crescendo verse. What a wonderful little piece.
I am excited to say that after years and years of holding out, I have finally ditched Lightning and upgraded to an iPhone that has USB-C. Now, when I got the USB-C iPhone, I knew right away there were two things that I immediately wanted. The first is a case because I want better grip on my phones. But the second thing was something that I've never had access to with any Apple device, which is LDAC, and I did that with this. This is the Noble Audio Scepter. Now, the Noble Audio Scepter is a compact USB-C Bluetooth transmitter, and what they say is that the Scepter bypasses the limitations of built-in Bluetooth hardware found in smartphones, tablets, and laptops. And let me tell you, there are a number of limitations in the iPhone's stock Bluetooth configuration options. This has Bluetooth 5.4 with Qualcomm's QCC5181 chipset, and it delivers a transmission range up to 20 meters or around 66-ish feet. It has LDAC, aptX Adaptive, and SBC and AAC, which I did have before, but LDAC and aptX, hello. It also features a dedicated game mode, so if you're watching something or playing a video game and you want to have that tighter sync between the two, you can turn on dedicated game mode and get low latency sync for games or movies. It has pass-through USB-C charging, which I haven't seen on any other Bluetooth dongles, and I'm so happy that that's here because I can plug this in, still have my wireless headphones in, and it's not draining my phone of juice. It's just running right through and charging it up. And it has power delivery 3.0 and up to 45 watts of charging speed, which I think is actually faster than my phone's maximum input anyways. So that's fantastic as well. It supports iOS, Android, macOS, Windows, Nintendo Switch, and Steam Deck. And then it even comes with a USB-C to USB-A adapter for broader accessibility across all your devices. It's compatible with many phone cases, as you can see here. It's working just fine with my phone case, no problem. And it runs $69.99, I should say, in the US. Now, I have it paired currently on my phone with the Noble Audio Focus Amadeus because I only have a couple of devices that have LDAC, and that's one of the ones that I had right at hand. And it's so nice to be able to live toggle between the two, go back to hear my old limitations maxing out at AAC, switch over to LDAC and just hear it. And you can also select the different LDAC levels as well as aptX. You can choose different aptX codecs, and I love that option. It also allowed me to unlock LDAC from my MacBook Pro, which again, Apple doesn't include. Now, I do want to mention something for anybody who's considering one of these. This is a little bit of a longer device, so potentially you could end up blocking a port on your device. Well, if you're like me and you have the MacBook Pro, just put it on the right side where there's only one USB-C port. Then all you're blocking is the HDMI port. No one cares. So basically, for $70, I've opened up a whole new world of wireless access across all of the IEMs that I have and full-size headphones with LDAC. It's so nice to have it here because before I only had it in a DAP. Now I have it in my phone. This little guy is a magnetic DAC amp that you attach to the back of your phone. It's the Fosi Audio MD3. Now, I call it a DAC amp because inside there's an ESS DAC. It has the ESS ES9039 Q2M DAC. So it supports PCM up to 32384 and DSD 256, and that's paired with a balanced amplifier circuit that's made up of 4 ESS ES9603Q amp chips, and they deliver up to 180 milliwatts per channel at 32 ohms. You have 3.5 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter output. To get that 180, you're going to have to go with the 4.4 millimeter. And it has an aluminum alloy chassis. Now, I like this because it has a vinyl-inspired look, they say. And one of the things that I really like is this Fosi Audio logo on the side. It's kind of that old punch-out look. I like that quite a bit. It's just kind of a classic look to it. It has a premium leather back, and I appreciate this because if you're attaching this to the back of a phone because it has the magnets inside, you don't want to have metal on metal. You don't want to scratch at the back of your device. And that gives it like a soft separator between the two, and I like that a lot.
It also gives it an elegant look.
It does, and it's kind of like a nice red-orange color, and I like that too. It has a magnetic backplate that is made with N52 magnets, so it's very, very strong. And on the front, it has a 1.28-inch circular LCD display. Now, I point that out because you can do a lot of cool stuff. There's like animations on this. You can upload photos. There's games. I'll get to that in a second. And it just has a lot of personality and a nice round display. I like that. 2 USB-C ports, and the reason for that is because you connect the bottom USB-C port out to your device, and that's also where your headphone connections are. Then you connect the top USB-C port to a charging source, and then it can charge your device while you're listening to music. I always like that kind of functionality because it doesn't tie up your USB port in case you need a little bit of juice. It has a 100-step volume control and 8 sound filters, and those built-in games that I was telling you about. It has just a little dice game, which is kind of fun. Spin the bottle, rock, paper, scissors. It's just neat that that's in there. It's a little bit of personality, and I appreciate it.
I haven't tried those games yet. I haven't tried them.
They're kind of fun. And it's also 0.47 inches thick. So when it's on the back of your phone, it is going to add a little bit of depth to the device. That's to be expected, but it's not going to add a ton. And I think that's important because when you think about how thick a lot of the 4.4 millimeter connectors can be, this gives it a little bit more of a gap between your device because of that thickness. So again, you're not worrying about that connector scratching up the back of your phone.
I agree.
Yep, very nice. It comes in anodized silver or anodized black finishes, and you can pick it up for $149. Now, Fosi Audio says that it delivers a detailed yet musical listening experience, and I can definitely agree with that. Now, I'll be honest, I only listen to this with in-ears, but at 180 milliwatts max power, you're not going to be driving anything demanding. So I think in-ears are a great pairing for this, and I listen to typically a lot more reference or even kind of bright-leaning IEMs, and this did deliver a detailed experience, but it did a nice job of being transparent. It kind of got out of the way. It didn't really, hamper the music. It's not going to add a lot of flavor of its own, but a lot of guys, that's actually what they want when they're out and about, and for $149, it's delivering a lot of oomph. So, if you're on the go and you just want something magnetically attached to the back of your phone, definitely check out the MD3.
Now, here at HEDFI HQ, it's not surprising that we would have used dongle DACs when they first became a thing many years ago.
No, we started experimenting right away.
Yeah, right away. And that was a long time ago.
It was.
Now, dongle DACs back then, there were some good ones.
Yeah, and some that were not so good.
Yeah, definitely some not so good ones.
Yep.
But the good ones were good.
Yeah.
Anyway, we fell out of the dongle DAC scene for years.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of lost our excitement with the dongle DACs, and then Questyle brought us roaring back into the dongle DAC scene when they gave us a Questyle M15.
Yep.
We hooked it up to our mobile phones, turned them into high-end DAPs. We plugged in our most sensitive in-ears, zero self-noise, and an exceptional sound quality.
Mm-hmm.
We were thrilled. We were back in the dongle DAC game.
Yep.
So this is the Questyle M18i, and they're just doing it again. They're getting us excited about dongle DACs again. This will be at CanJam. And the M18i uses dual ES9219Q DACs, so good DACs inside. Supports up to 32,384. Not surprisingly from Questyle, it has a very nice chassis. All their stuff has nice chassis.
Yeah, they have for years.
CNC anodized aluminum alloy. Also not surprising from Questyle, current mode amplification.
Yep.
4 sets of SIP modules. I believe that stands for system system and package modules using Questyle's current mode amplification, 4.4 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter outputs, built-in microphone. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Fully laminated OLED display. It tells you pretty much everything you need to know.
It's a nice clear display too.
It's actually a very nice clear display, yes.
Yeah.
3 modes with a switch that has 3 positions. PC mode allows for simultaneous charging and audio playback over USB.
Yeah, which is actually not something you'll find in every dongle deck.
No, and another thing that's inherent in that very description is that it has a battery.
Yes.
So it has its own battery, something also not in every dongle deck. So I love that you can charge it while listening in PC mode. Bluetooth mode, which is actually the mode I've been using most with it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Bluetooth 5.4.
Yeah.
AAC, SBC, aptX, aptX HD, aptX Adaptive, LDAC, LE Audio. I've been using LDAC with my Android phone. Phenomenal sound quality, and something I'm also very excited about. I've noticed this about a lot of later generation LDAC-enabled products. A pretty rock-solid connection.
Yeah.
In the earliest days of LDAC, it could be very touchy.
Yep.
Like, if I use it in this position, I get a good connection, you know? And then with this one, it's rock-solid.
Yep.
I totally dig that. Mobile and phone mode. Does not draw power from the phone because, again, it has its own battery. Features noise reduction technology. Qualcomm's 8th generation clear voice capture. That's to do with the microphone.
Yeah.
So when you're using it with Bluetooth, with your phone, and a call comes in, or you want to make a call, you don't have to take off your high-end IEM or headphone, whatever you're using with it, because of the microphone. And it's actually a very nice microphone.
Yeah, it is.
And it works really well.
Yeah.
So
I can't tell you how many times I've been listening to music and a call comes in. If the microphone on the device I'm using is not good, I'm not going to use it.
yeah,
It has a clear, wonderful microphone.
it actually does. It is usable, and it's only $399.
Yeah.
So as dongle DACs go, it's a beautiful performer. I want to talk about the sound quality very quickly because I've used it with, again, very sensitive IEMs, my most sensitive IEMs, you know, the kind that I'll put 90 dB at 4 millivolts, right? And no self-noise. I've used it with several high-end over-ear headphones.
Yeah.
And just beautiful tonality. This is a wonderful dongle DAC. The Questyle M18i is definitely something you don't want to miss at CanJam.
This is the TANCHJIM Space Pro.
Yeah, and that one is specifically the Asano Tanch edition.
Okay, so is that the character on the back?
Yeah, that's the little in-house mascot.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So that's what how do you pronounce it?
Asano.
Asano Tanch means. Okay, cool. So this is a portable USB-C dongle DAC.
Yes.
And as you can see, it's tiny.
Yeah.
It's about the size of my pinky. And I have small hands. So it's a portable USB-C dongle DAC. Uses dual CS43198 DACs. It'll decode PCM up to 32768. Has selectable output stage modes, Class A, B, and Class H. I chose Class A, B through the app. We're going to get to that. Independent high-power amplifiers per channel. So up to 618 milliwatts at 26 ohms.
Yeah, for something that size, that's kind of beefy.
Yeah, again, this is tiny.
Yeah.
So that is pretty beefy. 3.5 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter outputs squeezed into that little panel there.
Yep.
CTIA standard compliant 3.5 millimeter jack enables microphone input for calls and gaming voice chat.
Right.
That's cool that it has that. Admittedly, I haven't tried it. I've just listened to it.
Same.
I haven't done the game thing with it. 131 dB dynamic range. I haven't bench tested it, but that is a lot of dynamic range.
Yes.
Like a lot. And 131 dB signal to noise ratio. Also very high. Okay, I will say this, even though I didn't bench test it, even with sensitive IEMs, I got no self-noise from this thing.
That's true.
So that's a good sign. So the TANCHJIM Center app, where I made the switch with the output stage from Class H to Class AB, because when I plugged it in, it was at Class H, and I switched it to AB. It also enables this virtual 5.1 and 7.1 surround sound.
Yeah.
So I was using my Android phone, my Samsung Android phone, and I was playing with those. We'll get to it. Dedicated tactical perception feature. They say this allows users to fine-tune in-game audio elements such as gunshots, footsteps, and impact sounds with customizable parameters designed to enhance sound layering and spatial awareness for a competitive edge.
Yeah, there's something for music guys, movie guys, gaming guys, pretty much everybody.
Yeah, you're not kidding. So when you go into that app, there's so much going on.
Oh, yeah.
There's I think there's even community EQ settings that you can share and then use other people's EQ settings. I mean, I clicked on a couple. They were okay.
Yeah.
I liked it better without them. But anyway, so price, $119.99.
Or $99 for the standard edition.
Okay, so the Asano Tanch edition is $119.99.
Yeah.
Standard edition, $99.99. Okay, gotcha. So here's what I'll say about this. I was whenever I see something that's that affordable, I'm not sure what to expect. I was very pleasantly surprised by this. Going into the app, there's a lot going on again.
Yes.
So there was something that I didn't even see listed in our show notes, which let me go to the screenshot here, and I played with it. It was like tube mode. So there was vinyl mode, tube mode. Let's see, where was that?
Oh, you just found something really dangerous for you then, didn't you?
Yeah, you know, though, I liked it in the standard mode.
Okay.
It's fun to have. There's even a vinyl mode.
Yeah.
There's a dynamic range enhancement feature.
Okay.
There's all sorts of things going on. You can customize the EQ yourself and then share it. But I mostly used it in its standard. I was like playing with all the settings, and then there's a little reset button where you can just reset it to default.
Well, that's convenient.
Yeah, and I mostly reset it to default and just enjoyed its sound that way. It's a lovely little DAC amp, this TANCHJIM, and I would definitely make sure not to miss this at CanJam, because if you've blown your budget, the affordable stuff is always fun to check out.
Before we move on, there are a few more essential stops for anyone looking to upgrade their source chain or desktop rig at CanJam Hong Kong. The team at 83dB will be showcasing a pair of high-performance German amplifiers, the Lake People G108 and the highly regarded Zähl HM1. European sister companies Auris Audio and EarMen will also be attending, so stop by their exhibit to audition the Hedonia 300B and the Champ Signature. At the KEEPHIFI exhibit, you can audition the latest portable electronics from Tri, including the TK3. You'll also find one of the masters of Japanese amplification, MASS-Kobo, who will be showing their iconic and incredibly powerful Model 465. Finally, for those looking for high-tech streaming solutions, don't miss the chance to try the new WiiM Ultra.
This is the Meze Audio Astro. It's a flagship single dynamic driver IEM from Meze Audio. I knew it was coming, but until we got this one, this is the first I've heard it.
Right.
And I was wondering before I heard it, like, where's this going to come in terms of value? Because they released the Meze Audio Alba, and that's like $160.
Yeah.
And punches way above its price. This is $899 or €899, and this also punches above its price. So I'm happy. I'm happy with these a lot. So let's talk about it. On each side, there's a 10mm dynamic driver. It uses a multi-layer composite diaphragm. And they say that the diaphragm dome features over 80 ultra-thin layers of gold, bonded to a titanium layer that is mounted on a PEEK base, like PEEK, which I believe is polyether ether ketone.
Right.
It uses a CNC machined titanium housing. It's machined from a single block of titanium. And they use a multi-stage electroplating process for a smooth satin finish. The impedance is 32 ohms. The cable, which is gorgeous, is a premium balanced cable. CNC anodized aluminum hardware, gold-plated 4.4mm termination, and this wonderfully integrated 4.4mm to 3.5mm adapter. It was attached when we got it, and it's so well integrated that at first I thought it was a cable terminated in 3.5. No, it's 4.4 with the adapter to 3.5. And I love the hardware on it. This Y-split that almost looks like a wishbone is just so beautiful and sculpted. And by the way, the design of this with the titanium earpieces is one of the most simple, elegant designs Meze has done. You know, here's a company that is known for its aesthetic beauty, and this is like so simple and elegant.
Yeah, kind of understated.
Very understated.
Yeah.
It comes with two carry cases, a zip-up carry case. We're showing them on this little table here, and then a pouch, like a snap pouch. And again, price is $899 or €899. Okay, so they say that the Meze Audio Astro was created for listeners who demand true high-end performance without crossing into flagship pricing territory. At $899, they've not crossed into flagship pricing territory, so that's a good thing. The philosophy, they say, one driver delivering a visceral, full-bodied sound that rivals the layering, imaging, and resolution typically associated with multi-driver designs. I think they've succeeded beautifully with that. Because as I've said before, if you can accomplish your sonic goals with one driver, it's a beautiful thing. Because there are some advantages that come with it, like in terms of phase, coherence, things like that. And they've done it with this. So now I'm going to compare it to the Alba, because the Alba, even though it's so much less expensive, punches above its weight. And that I hear is like a more flat neutral tuning to my ears. This has a rich neutral tuning. The driver sounds like it's more resolving and faster, it's like significantly. And there's a richness to the tuning versus the Alba. It's frankly, the tuning of this is kind of right where my preference is, like centered down my preference. The bass, like they said, is rich and impactful. The mids are also rich without being thick.
Yeah.
So they're clean, rich mids. And then the treble is smoother than the Alba, for example, but still more detailed. Honestly, kind of right down the middle of my preferences again. And the imaging is beautiful, which is something that if you execute a well-designed single driver design, you can take advantage of that for imaging, and it images beautifully. So to me, strong value even at the price. Well short of flagship pricing. And so I'm excited about these, and they'll be at CanJam. This is the Meze Audio Astro. As far as I'm concerned, if you're listening to IEMs and checking out IEMs at CanJam, this is an absolute can't miss. This is Campfire Audio's Andromeda 10. I'm smiling because I love this IEM.
Yeah.
So it was launched, the Andromeda 10 was launched at CanJam SoCal 2025 to celebrate 10 years of Campfire Audio.
Right.
I still can't believe how fast 10 years goes by. The Andromeda family of IEMs is perhaps maybe the most important line of products that Campfire Audio has done. I mean, it's the one that I think a lot of people think of when they think of Campfire Audio. They've had several Andromeda models. This one's my favorite, the Andromeda 10. So let's talk about it. So the Andromeda 10 is a 10-driver, all-balanced armature design. So on each side, there are 4 drivers for lows, 4 drivers for mids, and 2 for highs. It features Campfire Audio's TAEC, which is their tuned acoustic expansion chamber. And then it introduces Campfire Audio's NEMC mid-driver circuit. They say this new circuit design is engineered to reduce and eliminate unwanted noise and resonance that can be present in balanced armature technology. I'm not familiar with the specifics there, but I'll say the mids on these Andromeda 10s so clean.
Yes.
All right. CNC'd aluminum housing in what they describe as a classic rich Andromeda green finish.
Yeah, we love that green.
I love this shade of green. It's different than the other Andromeda greens, but it's richer. I'm there for it. I love this shade of green. Stainless steel nozzle and hardware. They say it's Campfire Audio's first IEM to feature 2-pin connectors, which I think IEM cable enthusiasts are going to be quite happy with.
Yeah, Campfire Audio owners have been asking for that for a while, and Campfire Audio actually finally listened to them.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me, though, if people don't end up swapping cables anyway, because it comes with a very nice cable.
Yeah.
They call it the Time Link cable. It's a silver-plated and pure copper conductor cable with swappable terminations, 3.5 millimeter, 4.4 millimeter, and very cool USB-C DAC.
Yep.
All right. Accessories. Comes with a green leather case in a really cool shade of green.
Yes.
And a 10-year commemorative pin, which is nice. Price $1,799. Again, I love the Andromeda 10. Now, of the sound, here's how they describe it. Our largest balanced armature array yet delivers incredible detail, resolution, soundstage, speed, and accuracy while maintaining rich note weight, impact, and a subtle touch of warmth. I will say I agree with that description. Would you?
Oh, absolutely.
Because we both really dig this IEM.
Yep.
What does it sound like? It reminds me actually of like going back to first gen Andromeda, but informed by 10 years of experience making many IEMs since, and maybe improvements in technology since. It's like Andromeda, but for today. And I will describe its sound signature, because we both really enjoy this one, as on the more neutral side.
Right.
The bass, for example, to my ears is a perceived neutral bass that's well extended.
Yeah, it's right where I want it.
It's right where you want it. And when you say that, we don't often agree on like how much we love something.
Yeah.
But in this case, we do. The mids, as I mentioned earlier, very clean and detailed. And then there's an air. So it's like, it reminds me of the original Andromeda. It doesn't sound exactly like the original Andromeda, don't get me wrong, but it reminds me of the original Andromeda with air and just more resolution and sound staging. It's a beautiful IEM. And at CanJam, the Andromeda 10 will be there, and you don't want to miss it.
Now, Eletech has made some incredible premium aftermarket cables for IEMs and even full-size headphones over the years, but admittedly, most of them have been outside of my budget range, but they have something new called the Artistry series that is more attainable for me, and I think a lot of headfires out there. So they say that the Artistry series marks a new chapter for Eletech, conceived not merely as an entry in accessibility, but as a gateway into the brand's pursuit of refinement and material exploration. They go on to say that each piece carries its own voice and character, balancing clarity, musicality, and technical finesse, while retaining the unmistakable Eletech signature. And then one more thing they say about the Artistry series is the Artistry series distills Eletech geometry, tuning discipline, and build into a new entry range, bringing trickle-down engineering at an accessible price. So you're hearing a number of things here that sound really enticing, and I gotta say, these are very affordable. So I'm going to say that all of these cables in the Artistry series have aluminum alloy hardware. All of them are available with 2-pin or MMCX connectors, and all of them are terminated in a 4.4 millimeter. So I'm going to start with this. This is the Eletech Modello, and it's only $99. So it's their entry level to the entry level Artistry series. It is a 23 gauge 2-wire design with a dual coaxial structure, 6N OCC copper and 5N LC-OFC copper for the materials. They have a high dispersion geometry with a Kevlar resilient core, custom Eletech connectors and Y-splitter, and Eletech bespoke solder. Now, about this cable, the way they describe it is they say, it's tuned for easy musical enjoyment. Modello offers a natural warmth, smooth treble, and a cohesive, relaxed presentation that flatters most pairings. Modello is for listeners who want to step into the Eletech universe with a cable that feels inviting, forgiving, and quietly refined. Now, the second offering in the series is the Cartone, which you are holding, and the Cartone is a $149 cable. It is also a 23 gauge 2-wire design with a dual coaxial structure, but inside of that one, you're going to find LC-OFC silver-plated copper and 5N LC-OFC silver-plated copper. So it's going from a pure copper design to a silver-plated copper design, and I know a lot of headfires are probably perked up at that. It also features a high dispersion geometry with a Kevlar-resistant core. It also features custom Eletech connectors and Y-split, and it also has Eletech's bespoke solder. Now, they say Cartone delivers a lively silver-plated copper presentation with quick transients, crisp sparkle, and clean detail. Imaging feels more precise with strong spatial definition, making Cartone a versatile daily driver that stays energetic yet balanced. Now, right now, we have that currently paired with the Thieaudio Labs E1000, and I think it's probably safe for me to say that we've both been enjoying that pairing.
Yes. So I know it's a more affordable cable, but I wanted to see how it would run with a really premium IEM.
Exactly.
And the Thieaudio Labs E1000 has kind of been one of my test beds for, aftermarket cables lately. And I will say that despite the premium IEMs that they're paired with, this cable did a beautiful job. It's a beautiful pairing. And so, yeah, I would use them with high-priced premium IEMs as well.
Exactly. And there's still one more cable in the series as well, called the Fresco. Now, the Fresco we have sitting here on the table, it runs $199, and that is a 23 gauge 2-wire design cable with a dual coaxial structure. But inside, you're going to find 5N LC-OFC 10-plated copper, LC-OFC lits in black, and 1000D carbon fiber. It has a high dispersion geometry with a Kevlar resilient core, like the other models in the series. It also features custom Eletech connectors and Y-split with Eletech's bespoke solder. And about the cable, Eletech says, Fresco punches far above its bracket with spacious staging, vivid mids, and textured bass presence. Notes carry a richness without congestion, offering a true taste of premium cable performance in an accessible form. So like I said, there are a number of Eletech cables that can get quite expensive, but Eletech with this series, and I think particularly with the Fresco, they've really been trying to push the envelope and get the most performance, the biggest bang for the buck that they can. And I think they did an excellent job all around.
An outstanding job. By the way, I love the way the Fresco looks.
I do too.
It's a gorgeous cable. So it's not just the Fresco that punches far above its bracket, as they're saying. It's all three of them.
Yes.
And, if you've blown your entire budget on the IEMs, you don't have much left for aftermarket cables, but you don't want to skimp on cables. I think the Eletech Artistry series is a beautiful way to go, and you won't be skimping.
Right.
But it is more affordable. Make sure at CanJam to check out the Eletech Artistry series for sure. This is the Thieaudio Monarch Mark IV. Now, I don't have experience with every Thieaudio IEM, but most of the ones I've heard have been phenomenal values for what you pay. And this one, I would say this is one of those. So this is the Thieaudio Monarch Mark IV. It will be at CanJam, and you should listen to it. So let's talk about what it is. The Monarch Mark IV is a 10-driver tribrid IEM. On each side, it has 2 of Thieaudio's impact squared 8mm dynamic drivers. Then it has 6 balanced armature drivers and 2 Sonian electrostatic tweeters. And that's using a 4-way crossover. The shell is made of T6 aircraft-grade aluminum, aluminum alloy. And then there's an adjustable tuning switch.
Yeah.
This is important. Actually, you know what? I want to come back to that. Let's finish. Let's talk about the finishes. So multiple finishes are available. There's what they call Stella Shot and Kaleido Glow.
Yep.
Stella Shot and Kaleido Glow. I mean, those are names. We have the Stella Shot here.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about this Kaleido Glow now. So anyways, numerous custom designs to choose from on their store for an additional cost.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Kaleido Glow?
It's got like a cool kind of hexel pattern to it.
Okay, I'll have to look for that. And then there's a modular cable system that's made of ultra pure oxygen-free copper and silver-plated oxygen-free copper wires that have 4.4 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter terminations. Now, it's starting at $1,149.
Yeah.
So what are the price? Is it the finish differences?
Yeah, pretty much just the finish.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So now let's get back to the adjustable tuning switch. There is a standard mode, and there is a rumble mode.
Yes.
The standard mode they describe thusly. In standard tuning mode, the Mark IV goes back to its roots by bringing back a studio neutral tonal balance. Now, of rumble mode, they say, rumble adds an additional 3 dB to the entire sub-bass shelf, increasing both the sub-bass and low-mid power. Accurate description.
Yes.
Unquestionably. All right. Which mode did you prefer?
Oh, come on, you know.
Brian definitely preferred standard mode.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say this now. I'm literally 50-50 on these. Because when I listen to standard mode, even though they're saying what they're changing, and I believe them, of course, is the entire sub-bass shelf and then sub-bass and low mids.
Yeah.
It has an effect on its tonal balance to me that with standard mode sounds sparklier.
Yep.
Like it's just sparklier. And it sounds like they're saying a studio neutral tonal balance. Totally agree. With sparkle. Beautiful sound.
Yep.
And it's definitely in my neutral definition.
Right.
And range. Almost like one of those ones that's kind of right down the middle of that. In rumble mode, it's on the heavier, richer side of my neutral range, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Now, even if they're not changing the treble, that tonal balance shift kind of smooths the sense of sparkle that standard mode had.
Sure.
But it's in a way that I also enjoy.
Yeah.
I know that you prefer the standard mode. You know,
I do.
Just given our taste differences. Yeah.
I will say, since they call it rumble mode, I actually expected a big change. 3 dB is nice. That's the right kind of difference you want to have.
Yeah,
between the two signatures.
To me, it's a pretty substantial change because it's like it's 3 dB across a pretty.
It's pretty broad.
Yeah, it's pretty broad, and so it's over a pretty big frequency range.
Yeah.
But so I'm literally split between the two, like 50-50. But yeah, I want you guys to check it out at CanJam because I'm going to be very curious to know what that feedback's going to be like in the impressions thread.
Yeah. Maybe
we can have some discussions about it at CanJam. So let's stop and talk about it. But you definitely don't want to miss the Monarch Mark IV. All right, this is a very cool collaboration IEM.
Yeah, it is.
This is the FATfreq and EffectAudio Grand Maestro Anniversary Founders Edition.
Yeah, probably the longest IEM name in the world.
It is probably the longest IEM name in the world. So, again, a collaboration obviously between FATfreq and EffectAudio. Yep. And as you'd expect in a collaboration between FATfreq and EffectAudio, again, it's a very cool IEM.
Yeah.
It's excellent, actually. So this is a 14-driver tribrid IEM that they say uses second-generation tribrid technology. On each side, 2 dynamic drivers in an isobaric configuration. I think the previous anniversary edition had 1 dynamic driver.
Correct. Yeah, the standard anniversary. The Founders has the dual.
Okay, the standard has. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. 8 balanced armatures on each side, 4 EST drivers with something they call ResoFlow, which is a custom FATfreq waveguide system for improved driver integration and phase coherence, and all that in a 4-way crossover design. They say new bass Canon V2.0 Plus. That's probably referring to the isobaric drivers, the dual dynamics. Designed for bass heads, live performers, and studio professionals who crave maximum low-end authority. They're known for their low-end authority.
They are.
And especially the Grand Maestro, the Maestro series, which even if you look at their lineup description is described as V-shaped, but I love the tuning of it. We're going to get to that in a second. Titanium chassis. It's an elegant titanium chassis. It's actually quite lovely.
It is.
Vocal boost switch. Okay, I tend to use it with the vocal boost switch on.
I bounce back and forth, but I think I lean a little more towards vocal boost.
Yes, same here. Includes 4 sets of NOAA modules, champagne gold superstage modules, champagne gold control modules, silver reference modules, and black power modules. So the colors might be a little different than what people are used to.
They are.
But if you're familiar with those modules and a FATfreq fan, there's nothing about those you won't understand. Ascendium flagship grade cable. Very beautiful cable.
Very.
This must be due to the collaboration with EffectAudio.
Yeah.
It is a UPOCC cable. That's ultra pure Ono continuous cast cable. Materials include palladium-plated silver, palladium silver alloy, gold-plated gold silver alloy, gold-plated silver, and pure silver with EffectAudio central solid core. Again, it's a gorgeous cable. And again, working with EffectAudio, I'd expect no less. Includes a full set of Connex connectors and Pentacon OFC oxygen-free copper 4.4 millimeter termination.
Right.
So it's a nice plug. Comes with adjustable bass impedance adapter. Founders Edition leather carrying case, which we don't have handy at the moment.
Right.
Limited to 200 units globally.
Very limited, yeah.
Very limited. The price,
Yes.
$8,599.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a premium priced flagship class IEM. The Founders Edition delivers deeper, faster, and more controlled low-end impact, they say, delivering a truly end-game level bass experience that brings a sensation of live performance to your ears. Now, I will say this. I've mentioned it before. With some of the earlier models of FATfreq, like the bass was simply too much for me. This is still, obviously, unabashedly, a bass-emphasized IEM.
It definitely is.
But for some reason, it works for me, especially with the Superstage modules.
I do like the Superstage modules. It does some really cool stuff with the soundstage.
It does. It's a nice wide soundstage.
Yes.
And that's, to me, for as bassy as it is, I thoroughly enjoy these, and so do many others. Like when we go to CanJam at the FATfreq exhibit, a lot of people are enjoying the living daylights out of the FATfreq IEMs.
Right.
This I do too. This is quite refined sounding, so I'm not sure exactly the changes they made, but the treble sounds more refined to me than maybe I've heard. We don't have any of the other models here currently to compare to, but just going from memory, there's just a refinement to it. It's beautifully executed.
Yeah, from memory, this is probably the most enjoyment I've gotten out of all of their IEMs.
I think I agree with you on that for sure. So this is, again, the FATfreq Audio Grandmeister Anniversary Founders Edition, longest named IEM that we're aware of, and it will be at CanJam. You will want to make sure to audition this. It is so good. In 2024, Noble Audio released what we both agreed was the best IEM they've ever made.
Yep.
It was the Noble Audio Chronicle. They only made like 118 of them.
Yeah, very exclusive.
Very exclusive. They were to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Noble.
Yep.
This was one of the IEMs that's kind of rare for us. We fully agreed on it.
Yes.
Like this was one of the IEMs we both loved immensely. Well, this IEM, the reason I'm talking about the Chronicles, because I want to talk about this one, which is the Kronos. This is the Noble Audio Kronos. This will be at CanJam. The Chronicles are gone, people.
Yeah.
But the Kronos is here, and it will be at CanJam. And they say the Kronos is inspired by the limited edition Chronicle that commemorated Noble Audio's 10th anniversary. Kronos marks a bold new chapter in the evolution of the flagship line.
I think that phrase, inspired by, is underselling what this is.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
It sounds like the Chronicle.
Yes.
They even say the same internal components as the Chronicle. I'm going to say it sounds like a Chronicle.
Yep.
Looks different, but it sounds like a Chronicle, which is a fantastic thing.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about what it is for those not familiar with the Chronicle. It is a 9-driver quad-bridge IEM. So on each side, 2 dynamic drivers for the lows. That's one 10mm dynamic driver and one 7mm dynamic driver. 4 balanced armatures, 2 Knowles balanced armatures for mids, 2 Knowles balanced armatures for the highs, 2 Sonian ESTs, electrostatic tweeters, for the ultra highs, 1 dual membrane bone conduction driver. And all of that is tied together seamlessly with a 6-way crossover. We'll get to the sound in a second because I absolutely have to talk about it. Machined titanium shell is gorgeous.
Stunning.
Yeah, so the Chronicle had a very unique shell. It was like, I think it was entirely made of a...
That was drool-inducing, yeah.
Yeah, that was like all titanium Damascus. This has titanium Damascus faceplates. But it uses this machined titanium shell. I've seen a sneak preview of your photographs of these, which we're probably showing now. The facets on the inside are incredible.
The machining is so nice.
It's so beautiful. There's not a bad angle on these. Those facets are so precisely and beautifully and sharply cut.
Yeah.
I love them. I love the way these look too. So these are still stunning looking to me. Hand assembled and matched. The cable is also gorgeous. It's a 4N pure silver cable. That's 4 nines pure silver. And then silver plated 6N OCC copper. So that's 6 nines Ono continuous cast copper. And palladium plated 4N pure silver.
Yeah.
2 pin connectors on the earpiece side, and then 4.4mm termination, and these are $4,500. So these are less expensive by a margin.
Significantly,
than I remember the Chronicle being. And you're getting Chronicle sound.
Yes.
I'll say it again. This is the best sounding IEM. So these and the Chronicle, they sound the same to me, are the best sounding Noble IEMs I've heard. I think they're fantastic flagship IEMs. So what's the signature like? These are definitely for me on the neutral side. These are like neutral reference flagship monitors to my ears.
Yeah.
But there's a catch, and it's a nice catch. It's that the treble is on the higher side of my preferences.
Not mine.
Not yours. But it's in a way that for me is a very good thing.
Yeah.
It's this beautiful articulation in air, beautiful balance, the image is gorgeous.
Yep.
It might have something to do with that. It might have something to do with any number of things, but this is such a beautiful sounding IEM.
Yes, it is.
And it's flagship class all the way. So they're giving Chronicle sound in the Kronos for $4,500 at CanJam. Hello.
Yeah.
You do not want to miss these. This is an IEM, again, that Brian and I both love, that we both agree on. Doesn't happen to this degree very often, but we are 100% in agreement on this one. We love this. This is the Kronos. It sounds like a Chronicle from Noble Audio.
So Noble Audio is bringing the Prestige back to the stage because this is the Noble Audio Focus Prestige Encore. And for those that have heard the Prestige before, I believe it used to be their flagship, and this is taking those reins once again. So the Focus Prestige Encore is a 4-driver tribrid true wireless system. It has one 8mm dynamic driver, 2 Knowles balanced armature drivers, and one 6mm planar driver. So if you're thinking about the original Prestige, this is going to sound different because that planar driver was not there before. They've kind of pulled out a little magic, and now it's suddenly here. Speaking of other changes from the Focus Prestige, this has active noise cancellation. This has a new chipset. It's based on Qualcomm's QCC3091, and they say that delivers better sound tuning and more stable signal, and I will always take more stable signal anytime true wireless is involved because stability is king. It has a wireless charging case now, which is appreciated. They've changed the metal nozzles, so they're new metal nozzles with a 3 venting hole structure. It has a smaller housing, and they say it's more comfortable, and I agree, it is. And they also say that it has a more consistent wood color. Now, admittedly, I didn't see a lot of Prestiges side by side to really compare, but I'm definitely going to take their word for it, and This is a beautiful color. I love what they did. Connection-wise, you're looking at a Bluetooth 5.4 connection, and codecs, you're going to have SBC, AAC, aptX, aptX Adaptive, aptX Lossless, and LDAC, so a lot of modern codecs there for most portable devices on the go. It features multi-pairing and multi-connection. I also love that. And it supports Bluetooth Low Energy. Now, battery life, this is another place that it's improved. We have up to 7 hours with ANC or 10 hours of runtime without, and the charging case has 2.5 times full charge. So when you're thinking about without ANC, you get a maximum runtime of 35 hours, which is plenty without needing to stop back at the charging station and juice up. You will also get 2 hours of playback with about 10 minutes for a quick charge. You also get EQ functionality via the Noble Audio Focus app, and you and I were both playing around with the EQ settings. Obviously, we're going to have our own preferences. I actually ended up doing a custom EQ setting for this one, and once I popped in my custom, I like this quite a bit. It's $699 USD, so it's a little more expensive than the original Focus Prestige. However, I think it's worth it. So the addition of ANC is already a benefit. It also has transparency mode, and you can turn off both. I've mainly been listening to it with the ANC turned on. I'm not noticing any difference between swapping back and forth ANC on or off, and that's appreciated. It also does have touch controls. I want to mention that, so you can pause and play without messing with your phone. But sonically, once I had to bring down the bass a little bit, probably no surprise to a lot of people out there. However, once I did that, oh, this is lovely. There's a lot of great detail going on, a lot of resolution and clarity, bring out a little bit of just that bass presence, and I was very much enjoying this. This is something that I could pop into my ears, go out and about, and enjoy on the road. I'm actually curious to try it on a plane because the ANC here canceled out all the fan noise that we have inside the office, so I'm impressed.
Yes, I am too. So I would say, from the default signature, you actually took bass out?
Yeah, the default standard, I actually took out a little bass, like the 250 hertz down range.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so we have a difference in bass preference. I enjoyed the default. These are unquestionably reference, as true wireless goes, absolutely reference true wireless.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, these are fantastic. So at CanJam, I would definitely make sure to audition these, even if you didn't know that you were interested in wireless, because it's so convenient to get that kind of sound in true wireless.
Now, I do have a little bit of late-breaking news for CanJam Hong Kong because Noble Audio will also be showing off a new IEM called the Noble Audio Lubon. Now, the Lubon is a 3-driver hybrid IEM with one 10mm dynamic driver. They say that's made from composite wood for the diaphragm. I'm curious to see how that worked out.
Yeah.
And it has 2 planar drivers. So that's a very interesting combination of drivers. I'm very curious. It has a 27 ohm impedance, and they say the cable is a 4-strand woven high purity OCC silver plated upgrade cable. That's the Ono continuous cast for the OCC. It has 2-pin connectors, and it has a 4.4 millimeter copper gold-plated plug. It's going to run $13.99, and they gave us a nice little quote. They said, "The Lubon delivers a rich, natural tonal character with exceptional clarity and texture. The result is a listening experience that blends precision engineering with the organic warmth of finely crafted wood." Now, because when I think about the driver arrangement, that sounds unusual, and then I think about that quote, that kind of makes me think this might potentially be up your alley.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what the two of us think when we get to hear it at CanJam.
A composite wood diaphragm.
Yeah.
They have my attention.
Yep.
This is the Kinera Frig, and I quite enjoy these IEMs. I've been waiting for quite some time for Kinera to release an IEM that I enjoy as much or more than the Kinera Verdandi, which the Verdandi is not their most expensive IEM, but of all the Kinera IEMs I'd heard, it was my favorite. And I still use it regularly. Consider the Verdandi challenged by the Frig. So the Frig is an interesting IEM in terms of its driver configuration. It's a 6-driver hybrid IEM, and there are 2 dynamic drivers on each side. One is a 10-millimeter beryllium-plated driver for low frequencies, and then one 8-millimeter liquid silicone driver for mid-high frequencies. I think that's an interesting configuration for the dynamic drivers. Then on each side, there are 4 EST drivers, electrostatic tweeters, of course, for the highs. I think a lot of people are familiar with those ESTs by now. I love the tuning, and there are 2 different ones. There's a switch. We'll get to that in a minute. All right. The shell is what they describe as a high-precision shell. It's a simple description, and it does look like a high-precision shell.
Right.
The faceplate is what they call a woven crest metal faceplate.
Yeah, it's a nice-looking faceplate.
It's a really nice-looking faceplate, and it photographs well, too. It's a beautiful-looking faceplate. The cable is a 21.8 gauge 4-core cable, monocrystal copper and silver-plated monocrystal copper, coaxial shielding plus twisted pair construction, 2-pin connectors on the earpiece side, 4.4 millimeter plug termination. Now, there's a switch on each earpiece, and there are 2 impedance settings. It's more than that, though. But in one setting, it's 32 ohms in pop mode, and then 84 ohms in master mode. More significant than the impedance, because the types of things I'd use to drive it aren't bothered by the impedance change at all. It's the tonal balance changes. We'll get to that, but first I should say the price. These are $1,099 US.
Yeah, so pretty close to the Verdandi.
Pretty close to the Verdandi. And again, consider that Verdandi challenged. I'm enjoying these a lot. So dual tuning modes. Couldn't just call it a switch. They gave it a name. The Scepter Pivot Tuning Lever. I'm going to just say switch in the interest of time and not tongue twisting myself. So that switch in master mode, they described as balance tuned with a neutral and plane orientation featuring a transparent, clean, subtle, and natural tone with low coloration, a wide soundstage, and a stable spatial background. In the other mode, that's pop mode, they say it's pop-tuned, suitable for various pop genres, jazz, etc. It offers a full warm tone and a strong sense of atmosphere. And again, there's a impedance change and also a sensitivity change. It's a little more sensitive in pop mode. Again, I don't find that as significant as the tonal balance shift. So in master mode, okay, let me ask, you prefer it in master mode?
Yes.
So do I. So one of those ones we agree on. And in master mode, I consider this a neutral IEM. The bass perceived flat to me. The mids perceived flat to me and clean. And the treble, airy but smooth. So like, for example, using my sibilance test tracks, no issues there. I enjoy it actually quite a lot in that neutral mode or that master mode. And I love the way it images as well. Now, the pop mode is a variation of what I'm hearing in master mode. You tell me if you hear it the same, but it is significantly bigger.
Oh, yeah.
The bass is significantly richer, more impactful, and the lower mids as well. It's just a richer sounding version of master mode, but it's rich enough in terms of its lift to be significant.
Yeah.
But they are, for me, 2 usable tunings, and that means a lot to me because I've used other IEMs with switches where one of the tunings is just simply unusable for me. In this case, I have 2 very usable tunings. One I tend to prefer more than the other, but wow. Again, the Verdandi is challenged at CanJam. Make sure to stop and listen to the Kinera Frig. What a wonderful IEM. Thieaudio Labs E1000. Even if you're not familiar with Thieaudio Labs, I can say this much about them. This is a team with extensive experience making high-end IEMs.
That it is.
All right. So the E1000 they describe as their founding flagship, which I think is interesting. They say that the E1000 introduces the concept of passive desktop speakers into IEM design. Now, specifically, on each side, there's a single 10.2 millimeter full-range dynamic driver inside an acoustic chamber. And here's what they say about that. They say, we treat the acoustic chamber as a room and the driver as a speaker, allowing natural airflow and cavity coupling. I mean, I see where they're coming from here. Now, there's a double-sided titanium-coated diaphragm. So that diaphragm on that 10.2 millimeter driver, double-sided titanium-coated diaphragm, physical vacuum direct current magnetron sputtering process with more than 80 layers of titanium coating.
Yeah, I really want to see a cross-section of that diaphragm because if I'm not mistaken, I think they're doing the sputtering process on both sides of it.
Yeah.
I really want to see how that turns out. That'd be really cool to see it.
80 layers of titanium coating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super interesting. A Tesla magnetic system with a patented design, dual neodymium magnets that generate a 9,000 Gauss magnetic field, and a triple-layer magnetic guidance system. So I don't know much about that, but I'm certainly curious. The housing is an aerospace-grade titanium alloy that's CNC milled from a solid block of titanium alloy, and it uses a micro matte finish. I really like the way these look.
I do too.
It has an industrial type appearance with the fittings and everything, and I actually dig the way they look a lot. 45 ohm impedance. Now the cable, 1.5 meter 4-core high purity OFC cable. That's oxygen-free copper. 2-pin connectors on the earpiece side, 4.4 millimeter termination on the plug side. The price, $3,799. So this is a premium priced IEM. Again, it's their founding flagship. And so here's the thing. At CanJam, make sure, just because maybe some people aren't going to be familiar with Faith Audio Labs.
Sure.
Even if you're not familiar with it, again, this is a team with experience making high-end IEMs, and it shows.
Right.
Now, sound-wise, we agree. Actually, this is one of the ones where we agree on the sound.
Yeah, they kind of hit that sweet spot.
Yes, and we even agree on the bass.
Yeah.
Brian, we're making progress together because we actually agree on the bass presentation. Because even when I say for this one, it's perceived flat bass to my ears, like neutral.
Yeah, it falls in my range of neutral towards the upper end, but it's still in that range.
Okay, see? Because sometimes when I say perceived flat, you still think it's emphasized.
Right.
But yet we both enjoy the bass presentation here because it's extended. So when it hits low, it hits.
Yes.
But it's not emphasized. Mids, super clean.
Oh, yeah.
Clear, resolving mids. And then the highs. Which
That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's probably your favorite part. So when you say that I love the treble, usually for me it means it's too hot.
It could, yeah.
But it's not in this case.
Right.
So somehow we agree on the treble presentation, which has beautiful, airy treble and detailed treble. We're doing well here, Brian. We're agreeing with each other. Soundstage, and I think you agree with me here as well, images beautifully.
Yes.
All right, which can happen with a well-executed single driver design.
Oh, yeah.
If you can, I've said it before, if you can achieve your goals with a single driver per side, it can have benefits. I'm hearing them with this. All right. This IEM, again, is a flagship class IEM from Faith Audio Labs, out of the gate for them.
Right.
And at CanJam, even if you're not familiar with the company, trust that this is an experienced team making high-end IEMs, and that the E1000 absolutely worth a listen. Hercules Audio no doubt has another hit on its hands with the Hercules Audio Noah.
Yep.
This is a lot less expensive than their flagship.
Right.
And I mentioned the two in the same breath because, as I've said before, the Moses, which is a lot more expensive, isn't merely, its frequency response isn't merely an inspiration for the Noah. I have no doubt it's actually the frequency response target for the Noah. And so it comes closer to the Moses than it should. It's $380.
Right.
The Moses is most certainly not $380. It's a flagship, and it is flagship priced. To be clear, you're getting a better IEM, a more resolving IEM. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Let's talk about what this is. The Hercules Audio Noah is a 4-driver hybrid design. On each side, one 9mm solid silicone dynamic driver, two Knowles balanced armatures for mids, one Knowles balanced armature for highs, and a 3-way crossover design. All metal aluminum alloy housing for the price of $380. It's actually beautifully constructed.
Yeah, it is.
Hercules Audio Noah cable. It's called the Arc.
Yeah, it's aptly named.
Aptly. So the cable is Noah's Arc. It's a 22-gauge design, 4-wire design, silver-plated copper alloy, silver-plated foil-wrapped copper alloy with oil-immersed treatment, and Pentacon ear connections. And again, all of this for $380. And it captures the spirit of the Moses for $380. Now, what doesn't it capture? The resolution.
Sure.
Just the overall presentation of the Moses is better. There's a reason that even amongst those who love the highest end IEMs, the Moses is up there. But these, if you just can't make that stretch for $380,
right?
This is the closest you'll get for anywhere near that price.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best values right now in IEMs, in HEDFI, and at CanJam, it's going to unquestionably be a huge hit, and deservedly so. ever since Canpur released the CP622B, as you well know, and I've said it many times, it's been one of my reference IEMs. Beautiful, magical mid-range. I believe it's the first IEM I heard with bone conduction mid-range drivers.
I think it was.
Anyways, love the mid-range of the CP622B, and it was the Canpur flagship. Catch that? Past tense. I say that was because I'm holding the Canpur CP752B. This is now the flagship of the Canpur lineup, and it will be at CanJam, and you absolutely don't want to miss it because it is an exquisite, beautiful-sounding IEM. Let's talk about what it is. The Canpur CP752B is a 14-driver quad-brid. On each side, 7 balanced armatures, 4 EST drivers, 1 planar magnetic driver, 2 bone conduction drivers. Now, in comparison, just to compare it to the CP622B, the CP622B was a 10-driver tri-brid. It didn't have the planar magnetic driver. I want to say Canpur did a beautiful job integrating those 14 drivers of 4 different types into a very cohesive sound. They did it with the CP622B, though, as well. But then when you add like another driver type,
Right.
it's a challenging thing to do. And it sounds as one, and that to me is so important. Beautiful job, Canpur. The CP752B has a medical grade resin shell. Their shells are always beautifully built. They're like, this one's actually rather simple in design. It's elegant, but they're like flawless shells. I don't think I've seen a single flaw in that shell. They say it has next gen tuning philosophy. That's pretty general. I'm not sure what they mean, but I can tell you I love your tuning for the CP752B. Again, exquisite. They say it's an evolution of the CP622B built on the CP622B's DNA. I actually hear that. Actually looks the part too, but I actually hear that as well, and I'm glad. Because what I would want from Canpur, like if they were going to make another flagship, when I was listening to the CP622B, what I'd want is an evolution of that. I wouldn't want them to completely upend it.
Right.
I love the way it sounded, and the way it sounds. It's still around. They describe it, the CP752B, as having richer mids and expanded soundstage. I hear the expanded soundstage. I'm not sure that I would use that phrase, richer mids, per se. I'm not disagreeing with you, Canpur. I'm just saying that I get why they're saying it, but I'm going to explain how it sounds to me shortly. And then it comes with an exclusive Eletech cable. Lovely cable, by the way.
Yep.
They say it's newly designed premium cable designed for enhanced signal transmission and aesthetics. Okay, that's literally the extent of the information that we have. We have limited information, but we have the actual IEM.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the most important part. Let's talk about the sound. All right, again, an evolution of the CP622B, I agree. What would I have wanted more from the CP622B, which is in the range of neutrality for sure? Well, one of the things I would have wanted was just a little more bass. Beautiful bass extension on the 622. 752 gives me that little more I wanted.
Right.
The 622 had beautiful bass. I wanted just a touch more. I got that touch more with this. Still as textured, detailed. Anyway, what else would I wanted? I didn't necessarily know I wanted more air from the CP622B. I'm getting more air with this. So there seems to be a little more treble energy, a little more treble air, but with no etch.
Right.
So what I always fear when companies try to seek more details that they could go toward etch. They did not do that at all with this. The CP752B is etch free to my ears. Now, on that richer mid statement, I'm not hearing it like that because I'm hearing maybe there's a little more in the treble, maybe a little more in the upper mids. And if that's what they're talking about, yeah. But that's not usually where I describe richness, maybe usually in the low mids to mid mids, where I'm not hearing necessarily more there with these. So maybe it's just a semantics thing. I will agree with them, though, that it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So the CP752B is an exquisite new flagship at CanJam. You absolutely have to check it out. It's still in that range of neutrality, but it has that touch more richness that I wanted, and it is an absolutely fantastic IEM. This is the Nostalgia Audio Royal Camelot.
Yep.
Now, to make sure there's no confusion, we found out that there is another model from Nostalgia Audio called the Camelot.
Right.
We have not heard the original Camelot, only the Royal Camelot. So we don't really know how they compare or what the relationship is there. But this is the Royal Camelot. I listened to these, and I quite enjoy these.
Yeah, I did too.
You did too. So This is one of the rare IEMs where we're in pretty much full agreement.
Right.
Like we enjoy these a lot. But there's a big but. And that but is that the Royal Camelot is priced at $31,899.
Yep.
$31,899. All right. They say it's the world's first dual dynamic driver, pure gold IEMs.
Yeah.
We're going to get back to that. Let's talk about what's inside of them. So it's a 10-driver tri-brid IEM. On each side, two 10-millimeter dynamic drivers, one for ultra lows, one for lows. 4 balanced armatures, 2 for mids, 2 for highs, 4 EST drivers, electrostatic tweeters for ultra highs, and that's in a 5-way crossover design. So, and again, we quite enjoy. We're going to talk about the sound signature in a minute. The chassis, the earpieces, 24-karat gold-plated, 18-karat gold chassis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's solid 18-karat gold coated with 24-karat gold.
Yep.
Needless to say, they're quite heavy.
Yes.
They feel like they're made of solid 18-karat gold. There's an embossed Camelot logo sculpted in solid gold.
Yep.
And then 150 hand-set diamonds.
Yeah.
These ain't subtle. These are not subtle-looking IEMs.
Not at all.
So we tend to agree on aesthetic.
Right.
This is probably a bit showy.
It's a bit too flashy for me to wear out, but
Yeah.
you know what? Maybe in the office or at home.
Yeah. But I think for some people who love that kind of in-your-face style,
Yeah.
they're going to love this.
Oh, yeah.
But they are not subtle.
Yeah.
As you'll see. Well, you can tell from me holding them, and as you can see in the photos. There is bespoke internal wiring, ultra-pure OCC, that's Ono continuous cast silver wires, and gold-plated silver wires.
Yeah.
The cable, the core of the cable, gold-plated pure silver in a LITS Type 2 configuration, and then pure silver and gold-plated silver braiding with 2-pin connectors on the earpiece side and terminated in an oxygen-free copper 4.4 millimeter plug.
Mm-hmm.
All right. $31,899.
Yeah.
That is out of my budget.
Mine too.
That is out of my budget. Let's just talk about the sound, though. I really enjoy the sound.
Yeah, I did too.
So when you start talking about 2 10-millimeter dynamic drivers,
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting, before I heard them, maybe bass emphasis.
I expected a lot of bass.
Like a rich tonality.
Right.
These are not that.
Yeah,
I think the bass is more neutral.
I agree.
Like perceived flat with nice slam, though, for that. Like nice extension.
Yeah.
And it hits.
Mm-hmm. When the song calls for it, it delivers.
Right. But it is not emphasized. It is definitely more perceived flat.
Right.
The mids have some richness to it.
Yeah, they do.
Like it's not, like there's some richness to the mids, which I actually really enjoy. And then the treble is quite detailed and airy.
Yeah, I almost found them ever so slightly female vocal forward, but for me that works very well because I listen to a lot of female vocals.
Amen. Yeah, I really enjoy the tuning of these.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yep.
And the imaging is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
They image beautifully. Now, when you start saying then, we enjoy them immensely, but is it worth it? You know, usually the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But we don't know because you have to be able to stretch your budget to get to $31,899, and then you can determine if that's worth it to you or not. I wish they were not that expensive because
Yeah.
this is a pair of IEMs I'd actually like to own.
Me too.
But at CanJam, if you want to hear an IEM that Brian and I both love, but neither of us can afford, the Nostalgia Audio Royal Camelot. What a fantastic IEM that we can't afford. The Nostalgia Audio Royal Camelot IEMs.
Mhm.
We did most of our listening to these IEMs with a Nostalgia Audio cable that's not the stock cable.
Right.
And this is the Nostalgia Audio Guinevere,
Mm-hmm.
a very special cable. Now, mind you, the cable that comes with the Royal Camelot, at the price of the Royal Camelot you'd expect it, is a very fancy cable.
Yes, it
It's
is.
a beautiful cable. But the Guinevere is also a very special cable. Let's talk about it. It's the world's first gold, silver, platinum, and palladium alloy cable.
Yeah.
So I looked it up to see if I could find any others, because I know I've seen palladium, for example, used in other cables.
Mhm.
But turns out I think they're right. It is the world's first gold, silver, platinum, and palladium alloy cable. All right. It's a 4-strand braid cable. It is a pretty thick cable. It's on the thicker side.
It is.
Gold, silver, palladium, platinum alloy. Core is LITS Type 4S with spiral shielding and silver-plated LCOFC shielding. There are, if you look at it up close, there are these flecks of color. I'm
Yeah.
colorblind, so I don't
Mhm.
know exactly what color they are, but it's beautiful. I love the way this cable looks. They say this innovative design enhances conductivity, reduces impedance, and improves audio clarity while minimizing interference. I didn't test any of those claims, but we'll take them at their word for
Yeah.
the sake of this preview. Hardware. Aerospace-grade aluminum with a medieval gold finish.
I love the hardware on this cable.
I love the hardware on this cable.
Yeah.
Inspired by chess pieces.
Yep, they're beautiful.
Yes. Custom free spinning splitter features a self-lubricating mechanism. It's quite fidgety.
Oh yeah, I do love that spinner, and the build on it is so phenomenal. It just feels so smooth.
It is so smooth.
Yeah.
It is so beautifully built. And yes, and I'm actually a huge chess fan.
Yep.
I'm terrible at chess, so don't challenge me to it. You'll beat me, I'm sure. It'll be like 3 moves. Checkmate. But anyways, but I do watch it online a lot.
Yeah.
And I love the chess piece plug and that chess piece splitter and how it spins. Beautiful. 4.4 millimeter termination, and it's available in 2-pin or Connex terminations on the ear side. This is Connex that we terminated in 2-pin, so we could get it on the Royal Camelot, and it's limited to 80 units globally.
Right.
Now, those in our community who fancy themselves among the cable cognoscenti, right? They are going to want to check this cable out. It's $1,899, so it's kind of a flagship price cable.
It is.
But man, is it a beautifully done cable.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. And again, it's the world's first gold, silver, platinum, and palladium alloy cable. So make sure at CanJam to check it out, both on and off the Royal Camelot, preferably for you, I'm sure, on whatever IEM you bring to the show. This is the Nostalgia Audio Pendragon. So I love the way it sounds. I got to start with that because I'm going to do something I don't usually do. If I love the way something sounds, I don't usually start with the way they look.
Right.
I have to do it with these. They look stunning. How would you describe that theme?
I would say Arturian. I mean, they're called the Pendragon, so it's clearly inspired by King Arthur.
Yeah, they're ancient looking in a way that like I went back in time and stole something from another era.
Yeah.
Love that. So let's talk about, we'll get to the looks in a minute. Let's talk about what they are. At the heart of it, they are a flagship 14-driver quadbird IEM. On each side, 2 9.2 millimeter dynamic drivers for sub-low, 2 Sonian bone conduction drivers for mid-low, 6 Knowles and Sonian balanced armatures in a 2 mid, 2 high, 2 ultra-high configuration, 4 Sonian electrostatic drivers for super highs, and that's in a 6-way crossover design. But now let's get back to the looks.
Yeah.
We'll get back to the sound get to sound in a second. So the looks are stunning.
Yes.
I'm a sucker for that sort of ancient theming, because like I'm even carrying a leather backpack now with a Viking motif.
Right.
I love the ancient stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they say it's a Western Dragon inspired design. They use 5-axis CNC machined aluminum frame.
Yep.
Multicolor fragmented carbon fiber panels,
which is beautiful.
Beautiful. So I love that they've taken. It looks like maybe like a forged, like a layered carbon fiber. And they take this modern material and still give it this ancient look.
Yeah,
which I love. And this is one of my favorite parts: micron level printing to create a 3D dragon scale texture in the shell.
I've seen nothing like it, and I love it.
I love it, and it looks like dragon scales.
Yep.
But they are inside, underneath this clear, smooth layer, which is nice because who'd want to feel dragon scales against their ears? That's the ear side. They're just stunning. And they look, again, like something that you went back in time and stole from another era. The cable is also beautiful. It's a Caliburn custom cable, they call it. 21.5 gauge cable. It's a Litz type 4S, 4-strand configuration. It's a 4N, that's 4 nines, German oxygen-free copper. 5 nines, silver-plated oxygen-free copper shielding, and then oxygen-free copper 4.4 millimeter termination. It comes with a custom 3D printed ear tip case, which is actually pretty cool.
It is.
And then in that, you'll find Nostalgia Audio XWB ear tips, custom Royal Blue Symbio W ear tips, and LSR ear tips. Now, all of this, and that lovely case, which is actually larger than your typical cylindrical IEM case.
Yes.
I love it. All of this is $3,799. So as Nostalgia Audio goes, that's definitely flagship pricing.
It is.
But, you know, the signature, let's get to the sound, is a sound signature that I think a lot of flagship IEM enthusiasts are looking for today.
I agree.
It's a rich, beautiful tonality with a smooth, beautiful, resolving treble. I very much enjoy these. So we have the Durandal from Nostalgia Audio. We both enjoy that. Probably more your speed because the treble for me is at the upper end of my limits for the Durandal. This doesn't have that.
Right.
This has treble that's kind of right where I like it, on the smoother side, but resolving. I need the resolution, but I want some smoothness.
Yeah.
And these have a beautiful, organic, rich tonality. So, am I a fan? Yes, I am. Do I love the way they sound? Yes. Do I love the way they look? As much, yes. If you can't tell from my enthusiasm, at CanJam, and these will be there, make sure to check out the Nostalgia Audio Pendragon and ogle at them as well. They're just gorgeous. And listen to them, of course. This is the Starry Audio Bolide, an absolutely compelling IEM. Now, of the Bolide, Starry Audio says it's their first limited edition ultra flagship IEM. Interesting. So it's a 10-driver tribird IEM. On each side, there are 2 dynamic drivers for lows, And they're using for that Aroma Audio's patented 9.2 millimeter dual coil dynamic drivers. Very cool. 4 balanced armatures, 2 for mids, 2 for mid highs, and 4 electrostatic drivers for highs, and all of that in a 4-way crossover design. The 3D printed shell reminds me of some of Starry Audio's other IEMs that I've seen anyway.
It does.
Understated, but lovely.
Right.
They call it a fire meteor design that includes polarizing powder, so the color brightness changes with the viewing angle.
Yeah, it kind of gives me that same effect as maybe like a metal flake or like a chameleon kind of finish.
There's a shimmer.
Yeah.
It's lovely. The impedance, 25 ohms. The cable is called the Rolling Force Olive, which is a variant of the Rolling Force Choco cable. And it reminds me a lot of the Choco.
Yep.
But the olive refers probably to
the green accents.
the green accents. I wear a lot of, I'm actually surprised I'm not wearing anything olive today. I don't think I am, because I wear a lot of olive stuff. All right. I love olive. It's a specially retuned cable built for the bolide.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 4-strand braided Litz 4N plus 5N OFC. That's oxygen-free copper with the fresh olive green accents. And again, I love olive green. Now, the thing is, we said this is limited.
Right.
This is like limited.
Extremely.
Limited to a release of only 80 units.
And also limited to Asia.
Exclusive to Asia.
Yep.
We're very fortunate to have been able to get our ears on these because HEDFI HQ is not in Asia.
Nope.
So limited to only 80 units, exclusive to Asia, priced 22,880 Hong Kong dollars, so it's premium priced IEM. Now here's what they say about the sound. Bolide follows the general direction of Japanese style sound, but also references some Chinese songs, K-pop, and symphonic music.
Yep.
You're a bigger fan of that kind of music. So what do you say about that?
Based on that quote, I would say they're probably talking about more like the vocal ranges of music, because that's one of the areas where this kind of shines. His vocals come through very nicely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of detail both in the mids and the high end, and I think it works really well for specifically Japanese music that I listen to.
I can see where you're coming from with that. Now, they also say during the R&D phase, Bolide was set on a completely new direction. And in addition to our ongoing emphasis on vocal performance, like you were saying, this time we pursued brighter high-frequency expression and more powerful low-frequency dynamics. Therefore, we revisited the sound of Syzygy and Yozora, selected their key features, and reinterpreted other possibilities in Bolide.
There's some real truth in that.
There is real truth in that, because I can see where they might have taken little bits of the sound of either the Yozora, the Syzygy, and remixed it into this. But the reinterpretation part is key.
Yes.
Because this does not sound like the Syzygy or the Yozora. This is its own thing. But I want to focus on that part, the parts of the quotes. Well, let's start with, we pursued brighter high-frequency expression. The treble is soaring on these in a way that I love. So super detailed, very textured at the upper end of my preference range, but executed beautifully because of what I'm about to talk about, which is the richness down low and through even like the mids.
Right.
And so, but yeah, that treble is a defining characteristic, unquestionably. I would say this is like an audiophile V-shaped tuning, but the bass is big.
Yes, very big.
So they said more powerful low frequency dynamics. Absolutely. The bass is hard hitting. So this is not a neutral IEM.
No.
If you like bass emphasized IEMs, if you love bass emphasized IEMs, you're going to want to audition the Bolide, because they're fantastic if you love that kind of a signature. The bass is textured and detailed, but it's big.
It is.
The mids are also rich down low, like the lower mids, but still detailed. In fact, detailed through the mids. And the imaging, by the way, you know, with the other Starry Audio IEMs I've heard, they've imaged wide and airy and beautiful.
Right.
This is wider than anything I've heard from them, and one of the widest imaging IEMs I've heard in a while. Beautiful wide imaging, but coherent imaging. Yeah, the Bolide is a super compelling IEM. If you like a richer toned IEM and you want a reference class richer toned IEM, the Bolide at CanJam is something you absolutely don't want to miss. This is the Starry Audio Yozora. We know Starry Audio is from Hong Kong. That's literally all we know about them.
Yeah.
Kind of an enigmatic company. But for a company we know so little about, they happen to make, we've heard 2 IEMs from them that we love.
Right.
So we don't know much about the company, but they make great IEMs. This is the Yozora. This is, I believe, their new flagship. It's the 3rd installment in Starry Audio's Celestial series that includes a model called the Yoru, which we have not heard, and the Syzygy, which I have spent a lot of time with and I love. I'll say more about that shortly. This is an 8-driver hybrid IEM, the Yozora. On each side, 2 dynamic drivers for lows, and specifically, it uses Aroma Audio's patented 9.2 millimeter dual coil dynamic drivers, which I think is pretty darn cool.
I think that is very cool.
And then there are 6 balanced armatures on each side, 4 for mid-range, 2 for highs. And that's in a 3-way crossover. Now, they say about it, Yozora represents an expansive and immersive listening experience, taking inspiration from the boundless beauty of the night sky. Doesn't really describe the sound to my, from what I can see, but
No, but his name means night sky, so
Is that what it means?
I get where they're going.
oh, that's what it means.
Yeah.
So okay, so I'll talk about the sound shortly. 3D printed shell, which I think is quite lovely. The faceplate is, I think, quite elegant.
It is very elegant.
It's
yeah.
like sparkly yet understated.
Mm-hmm.
12.5 ohm impedance. The cable is from Rolling Force. It's called the Rolling Force Choco cable. It's actually quite lovely.
And a great name.
And a great name, because is it brown?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm colorblind. So 22.2 gauge cable, LITs 4N and 5N oxygen-free copper in a 4-braid structure. Price, $2,169.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make it its most Starry Audio's most expensive IEM. So it is
yeah.
their flagship. Now, they also say about the Yozora, the Yozora is meticulously tuned to deliver powerful, detailed low frequencies without overshadowing other ranges, which I think is fair. Compared to Yoru and Syzygy, Yozora's tuning is more character-driven with improved dynamics, richer textures, and an enhanced sense of immersion. So, haven't heard, again, the Yoru, but have spent much time with the Syzygy. The Syzygy is one of my favorite IEMs, period, especially at its price. It's premium price, but not flagship priced. Love that IEM. It's more neutrally tuned to my ears. This is not as neutral as the Syzygy. I see what they mean by character-driven, maybe, because it has a more distinct character. I would say maybe not quite V-shaped or U-shaped, but kind of makes me think of those phrases, in that the bass is certainly rich.
Yes.
And so are the lower mids to my ears. And then, whereas the Syzygy's treble to my ears is detailed smooth, this is detailed sparkly.
Yeah.
And that's probably something you love about
Yes.
it. And I think a lot of people are going to love that. It does lend maybe the textures they're talking about, especially in the treble. Beautiful sound. The imaging.
Yeah.
The Syzygy images beautifully.
It does.
This image is maybe wider, more immersive. So I think their description is fair. This, for a company that, again, we know so little about, is a fantastic IEM. So is the Syzygy. I need to learn more about this company, but the Yozora from Starry Audio at CanJam is a can't-miss IEM. You'll definitely want to check out the Yozora. This is the TANCHJIM Soda. Cute name.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy these IEMs, though.
I do too.
So this is a 5-driver hybrid IEM. On each side, there's one 10mm DMT5 dynamic driver, and that's a DLC dome composite diaphragm with a PU surround. And then there are 4 Pure Series balanced armatures, and they say this is the first TANCHJIM IEM to feature the Pure Series BAs. And there are 2 TANCHJIM Pure Series mid-high BAs per side and 2 TANCHJIM Pure Series ultra-high BAs. And it's a 3-way crossover, by the way. And then they say there are 2 passive silk system units. Units. A microstructure system developed to optimize high-frequency smoothness. So I'm actually curious to know what this is.
It's a cool sounding system.
It's a cool sounding system. I'd like to learn more about it. They say through negative feedback, it smooths extreme high-frequency peaks between 16 kilohertz and 23 kilohertz.
Yeah, I'm not hearing any peaky highs.
I'm not either.
Right.
Admittedly, I cannot hear to 23 kilohertz, but the treble I can hear, I'm not hearing any peaks, so that's nice. And again, it's a 3-way crossover design. The shell is a high-transparency resin chassis with an aluminum alloy faceplate. It's a simple, elegant design.
Yeah, and I like it.
I do too. TANCHJIM makes nice-looking stuff. They say there's something called a dual pressure release system. And about that, they say soda dynamically balances the pressure difference between the inside and outside of the ear canal, significantly reducing occlusion and eardrum pressure.
Yeah, I want to say this is a very comfortable IEM. When I first put it in, I kind of felt like I didn't quite have a seal, but I started listening and I had the bass, so I go, oh, okay, it's definitely sealing. So it feels like it's not isolating, but it is isolating.
See, I hear you, and I agree with you on that. So the first time I put them in, I was kind of pushing to get more of a seal feed.
Yeah. And once you get used to it, it's so comfortable.
Yes, it is comfortable. And they say this also allows low-frequency reproduction to sound more natural and cohesive. 15.5 ohm impedance. The cable is a high-purity silver-plated copper with densely braided LITs coaxial structure. On the earpiece side, 2-pin connectors. On the plug side, swappable terminations, 3.5mm and 4.4mm. I love when they do that. These days, admittedly, I'm mostly 4.4mm exclusively. Comes with a PVC leather carrying case, which is quite nice. Price, $309.99 US.
Yeah.
So very reasonably priced.
Right.
And I quite enjoy these.
Yeah.
Okay. The first time I heard them, I said, I brought them over to your desk. I was like, Brian, I think you're going to enjoy these.
I did.
Because I did too.
Yeah.
I would describe the sound, as essentially mostly neutral with a very mild bass lift for my preferences.
Yeah, I do hear bass lift. To me, it kind of falls in that audiophile fun range. And I like that.
Would you say it's see, I thought you'd also call it a mild bass lift because for me, I wasn't even sure I'd say this was bass lifted.
It's
for
not
my
strong.
preferences. No, it's not.
Right.
And but it's very well extended.
Yes.
And and then the mids I love the way they present vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Female vocals are very articulate
Yeah.
without being edgy.
Yep.
And then the treble, like they say, no peaks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I haven't seen the measurements, so I don't really know what it, but I'm not hearing any peaks. Again, I can't hear to 23 kilohertz, but the treble I can hear, didn't hear any peaks. This is a lovely sounding IEM
It is.
for $310. So at CanJam, do not miss the TANCHJIM soda. Now, the IEM cable I'm holding here is what I want to focus on. I'll talk about the IEM in a minute, but the cable is what I'm talking about. This is the Vortex Cables Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I feel like here at HEDFI HQ, we've been using more and more Vortex cables.
Yeah, we have.
I mean, we have a lot of IEMs here.
Yeah.
Now, this cable is a very nice one. This is the flagship of the Zenith series. The Genesis is to celebrate Vortex Cable's 7th anniversary.
Yep.
I can't believe 7 years has gone by already. Goodness gracious, that goes fast. Now, the Genesis is a 25.1 gauge cable that uses a LITS Type 7 helix structure. Now, about that, Vortex Cable says this design employs a woven pattern of multiple flat square conductors, effectively mitigating the skin effect and proximity effect. I've seen that with other cable manufacturers in the past that use like a flat cross-section type cable to minimize or eliminate skin effect. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The result is more stable signal transmission, drastically reduced distortion, and the precise presentation of musical details and layering. The conductor is a high-purity 4N OCC silver. That's Ono Continuous Cast Silver. And they say it avoids excessive coloration, presenting recordings with vivid authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
The insulation is even new.
Right.
So it's a new thickened insulation shielding formula. It's a thickened insulation shielding layer within the LITS Type 7 helix structure. And they say this results in more natural high-frequency extension, lower phase distortion, more complete instrumental overtones, and a significant improvement in the restoration of microdynamics. Now, on the ear side, you have two options. So you can go for a fixed 2-pin connector.
Right.
And then there's also a Versa upgrade, which I think for us, because we have so many IEMs here with different termination requirements, we're probably going to choose Versa most of the time.
Yeah, for those that aren't familiar, it's a swappable termination system on the earphone side, so you can easily swap without tools between like 2-pin or MMCX.
I love the toolless,
yes,
the non-tool required.
I love that.
Yeah, I like that too. The plug is 4.4 millimeter plug. Price, 2-pin, $1,249 US. The Versa, $1,289.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a $40 difference.
Yeah.
I think for those purists among us who know that they are only going to use the 2-pin configuration,
right,
they're probably going to choose the 2-pin and not opt for Versa. Here, again, we need so many different IEMs.
Yeah, I want the flexibility.
Yeah, we need flexibility.
Yep.
And again, I don't think it's going to come down to $40 for most people. It's going to be their needs. All right, now I'm using it with the Audio Labs E1000. That's what I've been using it with. It's an IEM I'm very familiar with that I enjoy a great deal. It's a single driver per side IEM, and I enjoy it immensely. The cable it comes with is a nice premium cable, but I'm going to say the Genesis is an upgrade all around. So, okay, first of all, it looks better. The cable is nice that comes with the E1000, but this is a much nicer looking cable for my tastes. And sound-wise, okay, they said a lot of things about the sound improvement. What I noticed the most is what they mentioned with the treble. So I feel like I'm getting even more treble texture and detail with these, which I appreciate. And these are very beautifully detailed in the treble already. So that's a nice touch. They also mentioned precise presentation of musical details and layering, and that's another area that I feel has been improved. Texture, like textural details, things like that, with the Genesis paired with the Audio Labs E1000. So for cable enthusiasts at CanJam, I think a lot of them are already going to stop by Vortex Cables. Make sure you don't miss the Vortex Cables Genesis. What a lovely piece of kit.
Now, over the years, we've seen a few dedicated cable makers get into making their own IEMs, whether directly or through collaborations. And this is happening again with this IEM, and I think this is going to be another success story. This is the Vortex Cables reference. Now, they're doing some really cool stuff with the reference. So first of all, they call it the world's first passive dual MIMS IEM. We'll come back to that here in just a second, but it's a 4-driver hybrid IEM. Inside is one 8mm aluminum magnesium dome dynamic woofer, one 6.5mm titanium composite dynamic driver, and 2 MIMS drivers. Now, they say it's the world's first dual MIMS tweeter. I've seen kind of a graphic breakdown of how they've constructed this. It's a really interesting design, and I really like the sound they've achieved with it.
Same here.
It has an aluminum alloy housing and faceplate. The chassis is 5-axis CNC machined, and they say that inside there's a diamond-cut internal geometry to break up standing waves and resonances. It features premium internal components, and I'm talking premium. So, for example, it has Vishay military-grade tantalum capacitors, Panasonic film capacitors, Elna electrolytic capacitors, and US-made RA resistors, And then the internal wiring is all 7-in OCC single crystal copper, which, I mean, they're going hard on all the components inside
They
this
are.
piece.
They really are.
They definitely are. Now, it's Vortex Cables, so they actually give you 2 cables with this IEM. The first that we have on the table here is the Vortex Ultra Series Titan. It is a 16-gauge cable, 2-wire design, featuring silver-plated 7-in OCC copper. They say it has an upgraded STP structure, and it's terminated with 4.4mm and 2-pin connectors on the headphone side.
It's such a cool cable. It's a thick cable, though.
It is a very thick
it's
cable.
It's a 16-gauge cable.
Very thick.
Yeah, as IEM cables go, that's a big one.
Yeah, so because of the size, I've primarily been using this, which is the Iris cable. It's part of their Zenith series.
Yes.
And that is a 25.1 gauge 4-wire design cable, again with silver-plated 7-in OCC copper inside. This one features a revolutionary Litz Type 7 helix structure, and again, terminated in 2-pin and 4.4mm. It also comes with Nostalgia Audio's XWB ear tips, which is nice to see because those are ear tips that, you know, originally just came with the Nostalgia Audio IEMs, but a lot of headfires have started picking them up as aftermarket replacements, and I think they work very well with this Vortex
They do.
IEM.
They're nice ear tips.
Yeah, they definitely do. It's going to run you $3,300, and it is limited to only 100 copies. So basically, if you're interested in this at CanJam, you kind of want to move quickly because I don't think these are going to last long. Now we got to talk about the sound. And I want to talk first about a description they provided for us. So they say Vortex reference, monitor flat, perfectly transparent, no enhancement, pure reproduction. It reveals every detail of your recording and the true nature of your cable. The ultimate reference for producers and audiophiles who demand truth in sound. Now, I want to call attention specifically to when they call monitor flat. When I think of IEMs and I think of headphones, I immediately think of headphone monitoring flat, which is to me something like maybe the Sony MDR 7506, or even potentially another monitoring headphone might be like the Beyerdynamic, DT 700 Pro X. That's another one that I use for monitoring here at the studio. This doesn't give me that kind of monitoring experience. This gives me a monitoring experience more like studio monitors is kind of what I want to say. There is some bass presence down low, and there's a really nice sound stage presentation to it. To my ears, it's mildly enhanced, not really like crazy prominent low end, but there is some emphasis to my tastes.
To my ears, the bass has a little lift.
Yeah, but you might find that in a studio, and I can definitely see where they're going when they say monitor flat. It's not flat, but like a monitor that's
it's like a perceived flat monitor sound, but the bass has a little lift to it.
Yeah, like some room reinforcement, perhaps.
Yeah, it's actually, I think it's very articulate sounding.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that also extends through the rest of the frequency range as well. I think the mid-range is articulate and detailed. I think the high end is clear and resolving without becoming, piercing for...
Yeah.
I think a lot of headfires are going to really enjoy the overall presentation of this. I think it's excellent.
Yes, I do too. I have no doubt headfires are going to find that one. I think a lot of them are going to love it.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about the 2 MEMS drivers I have in there because I would like to learn more about them. Obviously, I'm guessing that's for the treble, obviously.
Yeah.
And I like what that's doing treble-wise. It's very articulate without sounding in any way strident.
Yes.
So I'm enjoying those a lot, actually.
Yeah, me too. So definitely check them out at CanJam because, with only 100 of these being made, they're not going to last. This is QDC's 4 Pro, and it may represent one of the best values in QDC's lineup.
I'm going to say, to the best of my recollection, that might be the best value QDC I've heard.
Yeah, it's not their least expensive, but it's a phenomenal value.
Yeah, I think it's their best value.
Yeah. So the QDC 4 Pro is a 4-driver all-BA IEM. It has a 3-way crossover inside. Now, the chassis, I like what they call this. They call it a business gray housing. It's actually like a slightly bluish gray to me, and it reminds me actually of like a number of sports cars that have that kind of grayish with a blue tint color to it.
I'm only laughing because I didn't know that. That's what they called it.
It's not business gray to me. It's actually kind of sporty, but I like it. So it's a fun name. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This has 3 tuning modes in it. It has a hi-fi mode, a studio mode, and a live mode. Now, some people at home are probably already guessing, what's Brian going to like? You're probably right, but we'll get to that in a minute here. It has a 4-core single crystal copper silver-plated cable, and that has 3 swappable terminations. You get a 4.4mm, and you get dual 3.5mm terminations, so you get a straight and a right angle. I love right angle connections when I'm using the players in the pocket. Fantastic. It does come with a really nice carrying case that we have here on the table. And in their words, they say, 4 Pro fully considers the needs of performing artists and satisfies the wishes of music lovers for multiple usages of one device. So it's $559. It's not going to break the bank as far as IEMs go. It's far from their most expensive, and yet I still think it sounds phenomenal. And I love that you kind of get like the Goldilocks option here. There's 3 tunings, so you can find the one that's just right for you.
And they're 3 usable tunings.
They are 3 usable tunings, absolutely. So as far as signatures, I'm just going to say it. Studio's where I would go. That's me through and through. It is definitely a me signature. It has a really nice studio reference. There's a little tiny bit of fun, I think, in the vocal range, which I like, a little bit of romanticism there, so that kind of works well. Then they have hi-fi, which I describe as Brian plus bass. It's basically just a little bit of a bass boost. It's tasteful. It's very clear and present, but it's not going too far. To my mind, it's kind of towards the upper range of where I want my bass typically to be, and I like that quite a bit. Now, for somebody who's looking for a little more lively sound, they do have that live, and I believe this is specifically voiced more with live stage musicians in mind, performing artists.
Maybe, yeah.
But there's a lot of headfires that are going to like that livelier sound as well, and that's going to have more bass boost in my listening impressions. I did find maybe it's just, relativity, but it also does feel like the high end is brought back a tiny bit because of the enhanced bass level.
That could be it. That could be a relative thing. Okay, so I understand why you prefer and expected that you'd prefer the studio tuning.
Yeah, I like their studio IEMs, and they haven't let me down.
Yeah, I actually like it as well.
Yeah.
It is definitely on the neutral side. Bass-wise, I would say more on the flat neutral for me. But the hi-fi side, what do you call it?
Brian plus bass. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of torn between the two. I like hi-fi. Now, the live is probably, it kind of softens it.
Yes.
And makes it punchier. Maybe on stage. I'm not a stage musician. Maybe they want more rhythmic presence, so that's why it's maybe bass boosted more. It still is usable though.
Right.
I think a lot of people are going to like that signature.
I think a lot of guys that like that kind of smooth top, more body down low, are going to gravitate towards live.
Yeah, I think if I had to, gun to head, if I had to say I prefer one, it is going to be between studio and hi-fi, probably hi-fi for me. But I actually really enjoy studio and hi-fi. I love having 3 usable signatures. It's almost like having 3 different IEMs in one IEM. And again, I'll say it, I think it's the best value QDC IEM that I've heard so far.
We're no strangers to soft ears here at HEDFI. We first heard soft ears, several years ago. I think ahead of a CanJam Shanghai, if I'm not mistaken.
Might have been the first CanJam Shanghai.
It might have been. And they're back, and I'm happy about it. This is the Soft Ears RSV Mark II. Now, full disclosure, I've never heard the RSV Mark I, so I can't really make direct comparisons, but I can definitely tell you what I've heard with this, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. Inside of it, it is a 5-driver IEM. It's an all-BA design. It has a 4-way crossover. The housing is made from medical-grade resin and CNC'd aluminum alloy, and also forged carbon fiber. And we love the look of forged carbon fiber, and it's so beautiful on this. It's very subtle, very tastefully applied. They don't go crazy, and I love it.
Yeah, we love forged carbon fiber. We have some headphones here with forged carbon fiber.
We do. And
then I also have knives with forged carbon fiber scales.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the cable that comes with this is a 6-in oxygen-free cable. It features 2-pin connectors, 4.4 millimeter termination, and in the box you get a 4.4 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter adapter, which I always appreciate when that's included. Now, I do also want to mention, before I get into the sound signature, because it's going to surprise a lot of people, this is only $699. Now, sound signature. To me, I find that this has kind of a tonality with a smooth upper mid-range and treble range. Now, for me personally, I want to qualify that, it's a little too smooth. However, I know a lot of headfires out there are going to love this sound signature because it's going to be right up their alley.
I'm going to help you qualify that statement further. Brian tends to like things that are perceived flat, like perceived neutral.
I do, or maybe even slightly treble forward.
Yes. But I think there's a trend with IEMs and a lot of the enthusiasts. I'm one of them, right? Where we tend to favor kind of that richer, smoother sound.
Yeah.
Or a controlled big bass sound even.
Yeah.
And so I know that doesn't really fit with your ideal.
It doesn't, but
that's probably more in my wheelhouse.
It's going to fit for a lot of headfires. And you mentioned big bass. I do want to, real quick, from my notes, I noted that it has a dynamic bass impact with big bass that's well contained. It's very well controlled and maintained throughout. And I think when you pair that with a signature that's smooth but still resolving and detailed, it's going to be a comfortable listen for a lot of headfires. It might be something they can just kind of unwind to after a long day, relax, kind of find their moment of zen in the evening. And yeah, for $699 US, I think that's kind of crazy. A lot of headfires are definitely going to want to check this out at
I have
CanJam.
no doubt about that.
All right, now I hope I'm saying this out loud correctly, but this is the Arpical Michael. I know I'm saying Michael correctly at least. So Michael is named after the Archangel, Michael. It is a 6-driver tribrid IEM. It has one 10mm dynamic driver, 3 Knowles balanced armatures in a 1 full-range BA and 2 tweeter BA arrangement, and 2 Sonyan EST drivers. It comes paired with a 1.2 meter cable, 6-core, 2-strand copper-plated silver wiring with 2-pin connectors and a gold-plated copper 4.4mm termination. And it has a slider with a stowable design. You don't normally see a slider that goes into the Y-split. I think that's kind of neat because it actually keeps it cinched down instead of cinched up in a way. It is available in both a blue or gold finish. We have the blue finish here, and in my opinion, I think the blue looks better than the gold, at least from photos. And it's styled to look like angel wings. I mean, come on, it's Michael. Now, sonically, this is actually one of those pieces that I can get behind. It has an airy presentation to it, and it has a focus on the vocal range, which is an area that I like to focus on quite a bit. It also does have a moderately emphasized low end, but I don't find it too much. Now, price-wise, it's actually one of the... I was actually kind of surprised by the price because it's more like a mid-range price. It's $1,550 here in the US. I was honestly expecting it to be a little bit more. So the fact that you get all of this excellent sound for a price tag under $2,000, I think that's great. So at CanJam, the Arpical Michael is definitely going to be a must here. Now, this is an IEM that, at the time of recording, I haven't seen a lot of discussion on it. However, I think there is going to be a lot going forward. So this is the Palavox Akasha, and it's a flagship IEM, but let's talk about what makes it interesting. So it's a 13-driver quadbrid, and inside it has one 10mm dynamic driver, 6 Knowles balanced armature drivers, 2 Sonyan bone conduction drivers, and 4 Sonyan EST drivers. It has a grade 5 titanium chassis. We both love titanium, and the grade 5 usually is very high durability. It looks beautiful, and then that's paired with a handmade color enamel insert, actually a couple of inserts throughout the faceplate. Gives it a very unique look that I don't think I've seen anything quite like it before.
I don't think I've ever seen an IM look like this. It's kind of a layered look.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I think that alone is going to catch a lot of attention on the show floor.
Yes.
It has a semi-open design with both front and rear venting, and I'll come back to that in a minute because I think that has a big impact on the sound signature. But the cable. It's a standard 1.2 meter length, but maybe less standard is the pure silver and silver-plated single crystal copper cabling inside. That's in a coaxial structure. It has 2-pin connectors on the earphone side, and it has 4.4mm termination. And the hardware on this cable, it's both metal and enamel hardware. So they were clearly trying to match it with the earphone, but still give it its own look. It's got a little more of that enamel, and it looks just kind of like it's going to pop.
Right.
Now, sonic signature here. I was mentioning about that kind of semi-open nature because of the venting structure, and I think that's giving it the sense of air and spaciousness that I get inside of this piece because it's not as sealed as potentially other IEMs are. I'm also getting more of a focus on like the upper mid-range and the treble, which, you know, hello, treble emphasis, I'm all about that. But I want to mention that I don't feel like it's overshadowing the low end. So unless you're a bass head, there's going to be plenty of bass here to appeal to a lot of people. Now, I do want to mention that the fit can be a little finicky. However, do some tip rolling. You're going to find the tips that are for you, and it's just going to lock it in. Now, price, the Palavox Akasha's $4,000. So it is a flagship price IEM because it's a flagship IEM. However, I do have the impression that a lot of headfires will be talking about this pretty much as soon as they can get back to their hotel rooms and start typing up show notes. So when you're at CanJam, definitely stop by and check out the Palavox Akasha because you kind of have to. We've only scratched the surface of the IEMs that will be available to audition in Hong Kong, and here are a few more. Campfire Audio is bringing their vibrant, powerful, and extremely limited trifecta Crimson for you to audition. Over at ECT, you can find the latest from flip ears, including the Aisha Electri. KEEPHIFI will have a diverse lineup on hand, featuring the KB Ear Tourbillon Pro, alongside the Kong Tong i2. Hercules Audio will be giving CanJam attendees a sneak peek at the prototype for an upcoming IEM they're calling the Moses Legend. Soft Ears continues to push the envelope of precision engineering, so be sure to put the edge on your audition list. We are also looking forward to seeing what the newcomers at Twistora have in store with their beta IEM. Well, after all of that gear, it's clear that our return to the Pearl of the Orient is going to be something special. As a reminder, CanJam Hong Kong 2026 is happening April 11th and 12th at the beautiful Hong Kong Ocean Park Marriott Hotel. We want to extend a massive thank you to our event sponsors, ECT and HIFIMAN, for helping us bring CanJam back to Hong Kong. Now, we've barely scratched the surface of the innovations you'll find at the show, so for the complete list of every brand in attendance, check out this full exhibitor list for CanJam Hong Kong 2026. We'll see you in Hong Kong, and as always, we'll see you on the forums at headfi.org.